Welcome back to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Jones, and I'm here with some great guys. You already know the man right next to me, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Good. You see me mess that up, right? It's okay. It's all good.
I Yeah, it's fine.
And my brother from another mother, Mr. Luke Winstel. Man, what's going on, man?
All good. Glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I think the last time we seen each other was actually the Senior Bowl, which is some time ago, man. Before we get started, I want you to tell the viewers how your life been because it looked like some fun stuff, man. It looked like you're doing some great stuff lately. So just give us a little quick tidbit on your life the last couple of months.
Yeah, thank you. Just getting into year 3 covering Clemson. So we've had Pro Day, and of course we've had the Senior Bowl and all kinds of that stuff going on. Clemson spring game, which got people feeling all different kinds of ways because people say don't overreact to the spring game, and I say, what's the point? So covering Clemson football, covering the draft, enjoying the cycle, getting ready for a big weekend in terms of draft content with Thursday night first round and everything else coming up. So super pumped about what we're getting into here. And I know it's not the season yet, but just enjoying this part of the calendar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mock draft season is here. Well, the last mock draft season is here. The actual draft is tomorrow. We will be live on here as well. So if anybody wants to jump on, get some comments and stuff like that, we'll be on tomorrow as well. But I'm excited to do this final mock draft because it's a lot of smoke screens, man. It's a lot of talk and stuff like that. We're starting to hear now. I'm not hearing as much smoke screen stuff, but like trade talks and who's gonna trade here, who's gonna trade there. Actual players are now being named, saying they're gonna be trade requests. Ray, what's your thoughts on everything that's going on right now? All the rumors and news and everything.
Just that it's a lot of rumors, a lot of hearsay. No one knows exactly what's going on because really, until they see how the draft plays out, I don't think anybody does. I do think we're going to see some wide receivers get traded before the draft is over, though.
Yeah. There, that might be true. And Avery, who's going to be on with me live tomorrow, been talking about Justin Jefferson. Now I can't see that happening.
Justin Jefferson is not going to get traded.
I agree with that. But he's on this big chair, and there have been some analysts speculating it too. So it's not just him. I've been hearing it from other places as well.
AJ Brown could get traded, Jerome.
Stop.
T. Higgins will get traded, I believe.
I think T. Higgins definitely will. Yeah.
And there's one more guy, but he's off the top of my head. I don't remember who it was.
Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, Brandon Ayuk is going to be traded.
Yeah. I hope that you're not right about the AJ Brown thing. As an Eagles fan, I don't think so. As an analyst, maybe just because of the contracts. But I also think he only got two more years left on his contract. And it's not really hurting the team that much as far as cap right now. So just looking at how the cap was and everything like that, we're still in fair grounds right now with our cap situation and everything like that. So I don't think it's going to be something like that. It's more if he get traded, it's going to be more of either thinking in the future or just some of the rumors that have been going around been that. But that's enough about that. We're going to get into this mock draft. I'm super excited. I know it says 2.0, but this is our final one. So once again, guys, if you are watching this live right now, we got a few followers in here. First of all, thank you so much. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not on the YouTube channel, a lot of you are on Twitter. X rather. If you're on X, definitely go on there. You can put your live comments on here as well. So if you have a comment on some of our draft picks or anything like that, you want to say, hey, I think this person should go on this draft, or let us know, hey, Luke, your pick sucked, or something like that. And I'm not with you, but definitely put that on here. Let us know. And let's get right into it with our first pick. Obviously, that's going to be the Chicago Bears. I'm going to make this make this first pick, and I'm going to make this very, very easy, very simple for everybody to know. It's going to be Caleb Williams. No big movement from there. I think that he's going to be the number one guy. I think he should be. Real quick, Luke, I don't think we heard your comment on Caleb Williams. So I want to know what you think about him going first overall.
With Caleb Williams, to me, it's just, hey, don't overthink it. Ceiling's so high. This is a player that all year long, especially the beginning of last season, I was like, man, USC can't lose. He's going to carry the team. And it didn't work out that way. I was just overbought into the hype. And I think the truth is somewhere in between, the craziness and where he actually is. And even in between that is still a number 1 overall draft pick. It's just such a unique, rare player. The arm talent's ridiculous. You can just go down the list and say, okay, got to be number 1, so you can't overthink it. No need to do anything crazy with the mock draft. So this is the right call.
Definitely. Ray, what's your thoughts? And did you have any concerns with this since the last time we talked about Caleb Williams being number 1, or are you still kind of like firm on what you thought of him being number 1?
No, number 1 player in college football for like 3 years, dude. I think honestly is the problem with USC was he saw a defense that couldn't stop anything and said, you know what? I'm going to get my stats, get drafted, and get the heck out of here, man.
For real. No, for real. I think my biggest thing on Caleb Williams, I still think he's number 1 overall as I picked him. But I think my biggest thing with him is right now he plays too much hero ball. I would like him to not do that as much. Too much unscripted plays that go well for him that I hope he don't have the mindset like this is how it's going to be in the NFL. He has to kind of tone that down just a tad, not too much, because that's part of who he is. That's why they always compare him to, Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes used to be like that as well, but then he toned it down as well, and now you see what kind of player he is. So if he can do the same thing, tone down the too many unscripted play kind of thing, and learn to work within the offense first, I think he'll be a really good player. So that would be my only knock on him. We're not going to harper on that too long because again, we I think everybody's kind of exhausted from that right now. So let's get to our that essay is number 3. That is not the right one. Let me get to number 2. Where's number 2? Did I delete it? Don't tell me I deleted it. I might have deleted, but I didn't do it on purpose, I swear. But that's gonna be the Commanders. They're gonna be at number 2. I cannot find it right now, so we're not gonna even do it. The Commanders. So with the Commanders, I have that picked as well. And I'm going with the next best quarterback in this draft. And I so hardly think that he is the number 2 quarterback in this draft. Let me find him right now. And that is going to be where is he? Luke, do you think you know who I'm talking about?
Well, I guess I have to hear how big of
it's going to be JJ McCaffrey.
That's what I was saying. Would you go with JJ McCarthy? I don't think so.
No. I'm a big, you guys already know I'm a big Michigan guy, but it wouldn't be JJ there. It'd be Jaden Daniels here. It's funny enough because he gets compared to RG3 a lot. I don't think I like that comparison 100%, but I see what they're seeing with that. And to have a RG3-like player go back to the Commanders and allow them to have a guy who's been relatively healthy as well, so was RG3 actually, and then he got injured in, playing in the league. But if I think getting Jaden Daniels will ignite the fan base out there in Washington. And I think they'll be really happy about this. Ray, what's your thoughts on Jaden going to the Commanders here?
I'm a fan. I think he's a good player. I think that stylistically he fits what the offensive coordinator is going to want to do there. It's not a concern. There are rumors that he doesn't want to go to Washington. Not that they should care about that, but it's kind of annoying to be honest with you. But they did the right thing, I think.
Luke?
Well, dynamic player, it's your Heisman winner. So someone that I've expected to go high. And to me, when I look at his play at LSU, it seemed like had some good receivers around them and was always putting them in good positions to make plays. And to me, that type of a quarterback is somebody that could really change that Commanders franchise and be, maybe I know the RG3 comparison isn't quite right, but could be what RG3 was supposed to be in terms of bringing that franchise to the top of the division, making teams like Philadelphia have to really sweat out their matchups and the Cowboys when they play the Commanders. So that to me is what I'm looking at of that's the big momentum shift. And this is the guy with everything he brings to the table, setting up playmakers, running the ball, hopefully not putting himself in positions to get hit the way he did in college. But outside of that, this could be.
I'm sure the Commanders will definitely tell him to calm down a little bit, especially with the RGP thing. So, all right, we got our first comment right real quick. Chris says, "It's Mays falls to 3. Everybody is calling New England for that pick." Well, speaking of that, Ray has that pick. I think Ray might have the entire AFC East as well. But Ray, as a Dolphins fan, he has New England here, and it's his pick to make a pick.
I'm going to take Drake May. I'm not sure New England's going to, but I'm going to right now because there's no trade up or down in this. You can't trade back in this mock draft. So I think New England may try to trade out of this pick. I do. But for right now, I'll take him. I do think stylistically, again, big kid, big arm. You want that if you play in the northeast part of the country. So that part of him fits. I am a little afraid of him, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree with you, right? In the sense of if somebody's in love with Drake May, I think they're gonna try to trade in right here, and the Patriots would be okay. But I don't think the Patriots want to trade back too far because I still think they really want a quarterback, and I think they need a quarterback. Now, again, I think I said this to Avery the other day, is that the Patriots is a wild card type of team too, because we don't know. Like they always been a very unpredictable franchise, but we gotta remember that was Bill Belichick, and I think like a lot of us are still thinking in a Bill Belichick way. So it's kind of making this hard to kind of judge how this draft is going to be because now Bill Belichick's not there no more, and I know New England has a GM and things like that, but Bill Belichick was the GM, back then. So now he's not in place. Is it still going to be the Patriot way, or is it going to be a different type of style? But what you thinking about this pick?
Drake May is the first player we've had here that I've gotten a chance to cover, and he's one that in the 2022 ACC Championship and then last year at Clemson, I was able to get a look at him. And obviously the first thing that stood out to me on the sideline just watching in warm-ups was that quick, repeatable delivery, the arm motion, the technique. It's just blows you away as soon as you see it. And in game, my takeaway was you see flashes. There will be a throw or a few throws in a game that you say, okay, that's what the NFL people see. But otherwise, I just got the feel that while he does have those flashes, I have a hard time projecting him as better than an average NFL starter. I think he could be somewhere maybe 12 to 18 in your top 32 quarterback list. And I think that's generally where he would be for his career. I just don't see him being a top 10 or top 5 NFL quarterback. But I do think he does have a place in the league. So it's one of those spots where I'm like, don't hate him, don't love him. I think he's a starter in the NFL. But that's just where I sit. It's flashes. I just haven't seen the things that we see from Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, he gives me current Trevor Lawrence type. Like not when Trevor Lawrence was getting drafted and we thought he was going to be this all godly quarterback coming in. I'm pretty sure everybody thought that. But the Trevor Lawrence that we have now, Laura, he's not a bad quarterback, but he's not where we thought he would be, or he's not where that top 10 kind of quarterback as of right now. He might have that potential. He's kind of like, what do you think about that? Like as far as like career path for Jake May? That's how I kind of like feel of him right now. What do you think, Ray?
I agree. I'm a little afraid of him. I am. I think that the ceiling and the floor, like there's a big discrepancy in the two. Like you see, like you said, like Luke said, you see some arm talent. You're like, oh, yeah, that's really impressive. And then there's just games when he doesn't seem to be all there as far as decision making. And the other thing is, we know the top 3 quarterbacks are taken. One of them is more likely to be a bust. And if one is, this is probably the one that I would be most fearful of, to be honest with you. So
Agreed.
I mean, I don't know if I would make this pick if I were New England, and I don't know if New England will either. But in a quarterback-driven league, you see the talent and the potential. If you can unlock it, you have a franchise quarterback.
100%. 100%. All right, Luke, you are currently on the clock with the number 5 pick, and number 4 pick, and that will be the Cardinals. Who you got going to the Cardinals, sir?
Maserati Marv. Had to. Like yeah, Marvin Harrison, man. Here's the deal. This is to me, outside of the quarterbacks, this is your can't miss guy. This is the receiver that you plug in. 1,000-yard receiver is a rookie. Pro Bowl contender is a rookie. I mean, we'll see how the Cardinals offense looks. That's the limit, but the limit's not on his talent. You get that offense in the right situation, get the OC, calling plays, setting Marvin Harrison up, getting him in some one-on-ones on the outside. Marvin Harrison, you like to say, oh, yeah, if he gets some help around him, he'll thrive. I think he's one of those receivers, and we see it. It's so rare at the receiver position. Guys that maybe don't even need that much help. Like DeAndre Hopkins had a lot of bad quarterback play in his career, still Hall of Fame candidate at minimum. So I think this is one of those types of players that if he gets help, he'll be great. Even if he doesn't, this is a Pro Bowl guy out of the gate. So pro ready. So to me, if I'm the Cardinals, I don't hesitate. I'm not thinking about a whole lot of other stuff. I'm not really entertaining trades right now. If people want to come and try for, JJ McCarthy or any other quarterbacks they might like, thank you, but no thank you. Marvin Harrison, we're keeping it simple. This is the guy that's going to levitate your offense and make you trend toward a playoff team. If you can, you got to build some other stuff, but this is the start of something big.
You just put out 2 points that I was going to make because although you think they might not trade out, I think this pick or 4 will be the picks where people are going to try to get into that spot. I think teams are going to try to jump the Giants because they possibly could get a quarterback. And if you love JJ McCaffrey, I think that this is a perfect spot for you to try to get in. The thing about it, too, is the Cardinals have 2 first-round picks. So I think that if they do decide to stay back and stay right here, this would be great for them because they could get a bona fide wide receiver in and then solidify the rest of, something else and at the end of the draft as well. The only thing that I think the Cardinals need a lot more than just 2 players. I mean, you got the rest of the draft. You can still hit on those as well. But, they could possibly trade back, get some extra picks. I think that would also help them out in the future because, hey, if you're not comfortable with what's their current quarterback name? I'm blanking his name.
Kyler?
Kyler, yes. Kyler Murray. If they're not sure about Kyler Murray and they want to kind of use this as a let's see how this goes kind of situation year with now they got a bona fide they could get another receiver later on and get some extra draft picks that could give them capital for next year. So if they be like, Kyler's not the guy, let's get a guy in next year, get some extra picks for next year, and then kind of, hey, if there's a guy that we like next year at the quarterback position, we could trade up and get him. But what do you think about the pick, Ray?
I agree with Luke. I think he's the cleanest player in the draft. You can't go wrong with drafting him. He's the number 1 receiver pretty much out of the gate. The one thing I would agree with you a little bit, Jerome, if the Giants want to give me collateral and move up 2 picks and I can get either Marvin Harrison or another wide receiver, I'd be Malik Neighbors. I'd be willing to at least talk about that to do it. But I'm not I'm going to walk. If I'm in Arizona, I sign Kyler Murray. I got to try and make it work now. So I got to give him a weapon to play with. And I have to. So.
No, I agree. All right, Ray, you're next on the clock, and you have the LA Chargers. Who you taking there? This is going to be an interesting pick.
I would take an offensive tackle, but I don't think the Chargers are going to. I think the Chargers are going to take Malik Neighbors from LSU.
Neighbors.
So
Okay.
I'm taking Malik Neighbors from LSU.
I
Neighbors.
thought you were going to take a certain tackle that is from the school with the hat you're wearing there.
Yeah.
If it were up to me, I would. But matter of fact, when we had our last mock draft, I actually did take Joe Alt, and I got crucified. And then I got crucified from other people too. Like, there's no way the Chargers are going to walk away with in the first round without a wide receiver. So I kind of agree with that. But so we'll see.
You're funny, Chris. You are hilarious.
Kyler Murray's not ever going to be great unless he becomes dedicated to football more than he is right now. Let's keep it real.
It's not wrong about that. But anyway. Yeah, I like the pick though. Ray did have 0 to no wide receivers at this moment. They need to get a really good one. Obviously they got a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. I would love for him to continue his development and getting better. I do think the Chargers need some offensive line help to help him stay upright, but just getting a good receiver will be really good. This is a deep wide receiver class, so you can see them going off a tackle first and then a playmaker later on. Maybe Jim Harbaugh will reunite with himself with damn bad with names right now. I'm thinking Nico Collins, not Nico Collins. The wide receiver from Michigan, Roman Wilson. There you go, Roman Wilson. You might try to get him in the second round, something like that. So we'll definitely see. I think this, and that's why I said this pick is definitely intriguing because they could go multiple different ways. Hey, they might be one of those trade down candidates and try to get Brock Bowers later on. I think they go multiple ways with this. But what was you about to say, Ray?
I think that the problem is that they need corners, they need wide receivers more than anything else.
Yeah,
it's a pretty deep draft for both of them, though.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be some value there down the road. Offensive line is a need, not necessarily just tackle though. Offensive line, period. So
Yeah, and I'm sure they can shuffle some things around. Luke, any quick words on this?
Well, Neighbors is just a really fun highlight reel to watch on YouTube. And I think that in terms of weapons, the Chargers had Mike Williams go down last year. That hurt their offense a bit when he went on to IR. And I think that when you're able to bolster your receiver group with Malik Neighbors, it was a group that wasn't quite as good or explosive as it should have been last year. And this is the type of player that, especially if you're looking at a best player available strategy, I think it's a very fair pick to make.
100%. All right, let's get to the next pick. Luke, you are back on the board. You got the New York Giants.
If I'm the Giants, being at number 6, you're a little too late for Drake May unless you trade up. And then now you've just missed out on Malik Neighbors, the pick before. To me, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at needs. I know that receivers one, edge, D tackle, but I don't like enough of the edge D tackle guys here at number 6 overall. I know you could be thinking Jared versus Dallas Turner. I'm not ready to go there right now if I'm the Giants, safety, running back. None of those positions I think have a guy that would merit going this high. But I do think that out of Washington, Rome Odunze is the guy here. You go receiver, get another playmaker, and get this offense firing on all cylinders. And I think that's the next step toward doing it. So Odunze at Washington was one that really helped fuel their playoff run in the college football playoff. Another receiver that I think has so many different traits. You can use him in different ways. And that's something that I think fits the New York offense well and will really help out. I think, Daniel Jones has shown us that he needs some weapons around him, and getting him Odunze is, not Penix. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I don't think I could do this in the first round, period. We'll see how that goes, but just not that high on him. Appreciate the comment though, but Odunze to me is the guy that, another high ceiling receiver, obviously not quite the can't miss type that Marvin Harrison is, but one that I think is just a very easy, confident pick to make here at number 6.
I'm going to comment on Chris' hot take. I know his name is starting to heat up a little bit during right now with the draft getting real close. I can't see him going to 4. His injury history just a little too much for me. He's very talented. I wouldn't mind him being late in the first round, but injury history kind of scares me a little bit. Ray, what you think about the pick though?
I like it. I think it's a good pick. You could have went offensive line here, maybe.
I was thinking
You know
that
what I
too.
mean? You do need to get a player. Again, you paid the quarterback. You got to try to make him give him some weapons and make it work now. Like the Giants have put themselves in a really tough spot. So,
Yeah.
which I know you're really heartbroken about, right, Jerome?
Oh, so heartbreaking, so heartbreaking. That Daniel Jones contract is really killing him, really killing him.
Crippling.
Yeah, and they kind of have to give him one more year, at least a half of a year, if they get a maybe Penix later on in the draft, second round, something like that. They decide to do something like that.
If you get decent player from Daniel Jones, dude, they're going to win 5 games. They'll be in a good position again next year to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're in a rough spot. And again, I think that could be, if the draft works the way it has been. I think they can definitely get Romeo right here. I think that'd be the best pick for them. But if they looking like, hey, again, deep draft, we can trade out a little bit, maybe get Romeo a little bit later, get somebody back in this spot like a Vikings or something like that to get JJ or something like that and get some more picks, stock up for next year. Same situation I talked about earlier. They could possibly do something like that, but it just yeah, man, the Giants are in a weird spot right now, really weird spot. So I'm gonna put that in there. I got the Titans at number 7, and I'm gonna make this super easy. And Ray, what's his nickname for me?
Joe
Remember his
Hall?
nickname? Yeah.
Joe, I forget. No, I remember.
Oh, come on, Joe Alt Delete. Joe
Okay.
Alt Delete.
Okay.
This man is a really good offensive lineman, man. He's I always been high on him since he's been in at Notre Dame. I think this is going to be a run, don't walk type of pick. If he's there at 7, you cannot let anybody grab him. Automatic starter, a guy that's going to come in and be a franchise guy, I believe. Obviously, things happen. You can't guarantee it, but I don't see a lot of his game really falling off in the NFL, to be honest. Obviously, his father played as well, but I can say about him, he could be a little bit better in pass pro, but anybody can get a little bit better on everything. So, Luke, what do you think about the pick?
With Joe Alt, that's one of those that he is my top O lineman in this draft right now. I know there's a lot of good ones, but that's the one to me that's just looks like the type that'll hold you down for a decade. I think an offensive lineman, that's what I look for of, what are we seeing? How solid are they? And he just seems like the type that was unproblematic guy in college, just goes in, does his job, gets it done, and the type that goes to work and can do it for you every day for a decade. And that's, I think, what you need out of a number 7 overall pick offensive lineman for Tennessee, trying to rebuild a little bit, retooling, several players away from being a legitimate contender. I think this gets you that step closer and gives you a little bit of certainty here with a guy that's very proven at the collegiate level.
100%. Ray?
I agree with what Luke just said. Joe Alt, I believe Joe Alt, Caleb Williams, and Marvin Harrison are the best players in this draft, to be honest with you. I think that Joe Alt, again, father was a Pro Bowl player. He was a tight end in high school all the way up until he got to college. The kid's going to be a stud, man. He's going to be a Pro Bowl player for 8 to 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think him playing tight end definitely played a factor into his athletic ability. He's guy, you can tell he kicks out really well. He got great technique. There's not much I can say about him as far as
he didn't give up a sack in 2.5 seasons, man.
Yeah, I forgot about that stat. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm sure you're happy about that, right? When he was there.
I would have loved it if Miami had a top 5 pick, to be honest with you.
True. I'm sure you would have. All right, Ray, you back on the board. You got ATL, you got the Falcons. Do the town right. You know, me and Luke right now is in Georgia, so do the town right. Let
Well,
the
I'm
people
gonna
know.
see what you guys think about this, but I know that Atlanta likes Dallas Turner. I'm going to take Dallas Turner, dude.
I don't know if Atlanta likes Dallas Turner. They've been talking it down on the radio lately. Like they
And
saying,
what does that mean? Like a day before the draft, when the team's talking someone down, dude.
they probably gonna get him. They probably
Yeah,
gonna get him. I mean, that is literally that's what they said on the radio. Honestly, they was like, "Yeah, we're talking down Dallas Turner. He's probably gonna be the pick there." But Luke, as a the most tenured Georgia guy here, what do you think about this pick for Atlanta?
This is one of those picks that you see Dallas Turner tomorrow. If the Falcons pick Dallas Turner and I'm a Falcons fan, I'd say, all right, cool. Like they did their job. That was a good move. It's not blowing me away. This
no.
is not the type of player that I look at and say, this is a Pro Bowler for 10 years. I think he's an above average NFL player. I'm not sure he's great. So the thing for me at 8 overall, it's like you're looking at ceiling and you're looking at like the reason that you're looking at an edge here is position of need. And to me, I almost debate taking a best player available approach just because the defensive ends in the top of this group, whether it's Letu or Turner or Jared Verse, I all have a couple of questions about and the way that they go, and I just don't see them as home runs. But I do think this would be a very good pick for Atlanta. So if that's what they end up doing, I'll say, okay, like good job. I'm not blown away, but you did the job, and I think that that's a player that the Falcons fans should be happy about getting because obviously at Bama, the pass rush ability is something the Falcons have needed, and that's what he's made a name for himself on.
I'm gonna ask you two questions. One, is 8 too rich for him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you watch like as a Falcons? You're
12.
a Falcons fan. Would you
Get
want
Turner at 12? Trade down a few picks. It's just 8 seems a little high for him. That's all. Middle of the first or even in the low 10 to 13 range, I think feels a little better. But a top 10 pick to me is just feels a little bit rich. And it's a slim enough margin that, again, I don't think you can really complain too much about it. But it's not something not a walk, don't run, or run, don't walk, like you said on one of those earlier. I don't feel that way.
I got you. My next question. You mentioned best player available, grabbing him, right? I'm sure Atlanta will love this if that pick gets this. But looking at the landscape of who's there, if you talk about BPA, Brock Bowers is right there. Would that be somebody that you want there? I mean, 2 times in the last 4 years getting a tight end that high. I heard some rumblings about Falcons fans kind of wanting that a little bit. Obviously, he played at Georgia, so this is kind of a bias there. But what would be your thought on BPA, best player available? It's Brock Bowers, according to a lot of boards right now. Even though he might not go that high, Falcons getting him here at 8.
Yeah, that to me, it doesn't quite feel right because you've already done this thing one time, and some would even say Kyle Pitts was a better prospect. And you're looking at, okay, well, let's see how that worked out. I know some people say that. That's a real debate.
I don't know about that. That's crazy. But go ahead.
Okay. I have not picked a side on that one, to be honest with you, who I like more as a prospect. I think, well, I just can't pick between them. But I don't think you do that twice. You've already done the whole tight end in the top 4, and it's just the positional value is not there. If they're 1,000-yard receiver every year, okay, starts to be, but that's just so rare. That's your Kelseys and very few guys, and most tight ends are not worth taking that much of a chance on. Bowers is really good. He's going to be an awesome NFL player. I think we'll talk a lot about him here in a minute. For the Falcons, I get it, but no, you can't go get Bowers here at 8.
Ray, what do you think about what I just said about all that?
If you remember, Jerome, when we did this a month ago, I took Brock Bowers for this spot. I just think that edge is a bigger need for Atlanta. I do think that Bowers is a slightly higher rated player than Turner is for me right now. But I think that Atlanta, again, they have their quarterback. They really need to improve their defense a little bit. If they really, because right now I think they're a decent roster who can compete with their division. If they turn their defense around, I think they could do it. Pitts is a very intriguing tight end, but he's more of a glorified slot receiver, to be honest with you. He's not really a tight end.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. All right. So yeah, Dallas Turner right there. For the Falcons, I am on the board with the Chicago Bears. Now I'm a little stuck because I know who I could pick here. The top receivers went a little early. I think they could have got another third quarterback. I think um, Keenan Allen is on a 1-year deal right now, so that would have been nice to get a young guy in there just in case. Um, kind of stuck right here, just a little bit. I think they can go offensive line, and if they do, I do have somebody kind of in mind. They could go corner as well. Actually, corners are kind of good actually. But yeah, this will be probably a trade back scenario in general for me. But I think I'm going to pick a guy for them, and I'm gonna go offensive line again, and I'm gonna go Olu. Don't ask me how to say the rest of his name, but not Fanash.
Fashanu?
There you go. You got it. You got it. Luke, what do you think about the pick, though?
It's a good one. I think when you're trying to build a team and you go out and you get your quarterback, two main ways that I like to go here. I like to go either get your quarterback a receiver, but at this point, a lot of your big time receivers are gone. So then get your quarterback some protection. And to me, that's something with you go and you get Caleb Williams, number one, then you come and you bring in Fashanu. Now you're bringing in some protection for him. You've got these two picks. You're making it count. And they're two guys that are pretty sure bets in terms of that blue chip talent, guys that you can plug in. Caleb, we know, will be playing first year. Fashanu, I think, will have a really good chance to have the same type of impact of go in, prove yourself as a rookie, then everything goes up from there. So I think that's the way to build right here. If you've got those top receivers gone, this is where you go.
100%. What do you think, Ray?
I agree. I think Fashanu is a good pick here. You do build your team through offensive and defensive lines, no matter what anybody tries to say. I mean, the only way I would take another position is if I have those lines where I have depth at both positions, to be honest with you.
Correct.
And I think Fashanu is a good football player and maybe a little more athletic than Joe Alt, to be honest with you, as far as movement skills, but a good football player nonetheless. Again, this is how I would build my team, so I get it. And you got to protect the quarterback, so
100%. And with having a more mobile type of quarterback, you want a guy that can move around a little bit better when you're protecting him as well. Yeah. All right, we got the Jets Jets, Mr. Ray Roberts, your second favorite team. Picking right here at number 10. Who are you picking for your rivals?
I'm going to take Brock Bowers.
I knew it.
I just think that they need a wide receiver. They can use offensive line depth. They got to 2 tackles. They can use depth there. It's too early to take a safety. Tight end is the next biggest need. And again, he's a top 10 player, and you're getting him at 10, so you're good.
Yeah, I just think this pick just makes too much sense here for them. You get Aaron Rodgers back. I heard there might be some, thoughts of getting a quarterback here. We'll see what they think about that. But just in case Aaron Rodgers, doesn't do well or whatever, and they just traded away the kid from BYU, Zach Wilson. Yeah, they just traded him away. So they are going to need a backup. So a lot of people are kind of like, they might go quarterback here. I think the Jets don't have a strong need I think they handled that a lot last year, and it just didn't work out because the quarterback position wasn't where he wanted it to be. They got Aaron Rodgers back. I think he's 36, 37, getting a little up there in age. Might be a little bit younger than that. But getting a little up there in age, just coming off an injury. I think having a young quarterback that can develop behind him, do that Jets kind of situation, would work. So we'll see. Luke, what's your thoughts on this?
Brock Bowers is one of those that, to me, is the best tight end prospect that maybe we've ever seen coming out of college, just because of his film alone just kind of blows your mind with what he's able to do. The thing that I've seen with him is people question the speed and
Thanks, appreciate you.
I can't buy it. I appreciate the comments, guy. I can't do it. Nope. Penix is not in. I don't think he's in my top 40. I'm sure he'll be taken in the top 40. Not if I'm the GM though. But yeah, to me with Brock Bowers, unbelievable tape. I know at Georgia they had schemes to kind of get him set up, get him in good position with the speed, the way he's able to split safeties. His field vision to me is something that people don't talk enough about. The way that he sees gaps open and close and sees things before they happen. So he's got that extra bit on top of the athleticism that he's able to add. He can block too. It's not going to be his primary role, but this is something that adds an extra dimension to a New York Jets offense that, recently went first round at the receiver position and, get Garrett Wilson. And now you add in another guy that's been in college football playoffs and been at the highest level, played against those guys. And I think will be a bit of a matchup issue in the NFL for teams.
Yeah. I love the pick. I don't think he's going to go too far out of the top 15. So I think this would be a great pick for him to go to the Jets. Again, like I said, Jets don't have a lot of needs per se. So getting them a premier tight end would be really good. Got Garrett Wilson, got Mike Williams now. Get a third premier pass catcher for your really good quarterback. I think that'd be great. He said, I'm late. Did the Giants at number 6 got Rome Odunze. So that was picked by Luke at number 6. So there you go. Tashim. Thank you for getting on, brother. All right, let's go to our next pick. And that will be Luke. You are up and you have the Vikings. Now you got an interesting pick here, sir.
Yeah, I sure do. And I'll make it a little less interesting by telling you I am not going quarterback here. I know there's a thought that
they could. Did you do this last time? I'm having deja vu. Did you have the Vikings and did you do this last time? Or was that Sam?
It wasn't me.
That was Sam? I'm having deja vu because I thought you did the same thing where we went to the Vikings and JJ was there and he was like, I'm not taking JJ.
Nope, not taking him. But I am going to go with Vikings. You got quarterback, offensive line, edge, receiver, defensive tackle. Those could be needs. Right now, I'm kind of looking around. I do like cornerback with this pick. Get a little unorthodox here. Let's go Terrion Arnold from Alabama.
There's another one.
Let's get get those defensive backs going here in the draft and start rolling with more defensive guys. Your second Bama guy here coming out. Terrion Arnold to me is just one that for Minnesota, if you're not going quarterback, I don't think you're really much of a contender right now. So I'm looking at best player available. And I know there's a lot of good ones and we can have all kinds of arguments about who the best player available is. But right now I'm going, okay, Brock Bowers is off the board. We're looking at corners. We've got maybe Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. Those are some of the guys I think of. And to me, Arnold to the Vikings is going to be the pick. He's a guy, even though he's a DB, you see it in the picture, he's got the ball in his hands, and he's the type of guy that can turn other teams over and provide some momentum for you defensively. So I think go defensive, get yourself a star in your secondary, and then move on as you have to build for your future. And then maybe next year you have a better pick and get a quarterback, but just not 11 and JJ McCarthy. It just doesn't feel right.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask, You got Terrion Mitchell as the first DB off the board. Why Terrion over Quinyon Mitchell?
Yeah, part of it to me is Quinyon Mitchell. I see. Here's the thing: I can't say anything bad about Quinyon Mitchell because I'm about to try to pick him with one of my teams coming up. So I'm about to tell you how much I love him. But I love Terrion Arnold just a little bit more. To me, the competition level was a little higher, but I also think that with Quinyon Mitchell, he's one of those players that had the biggest rise in the offseason leading up to the draft. And I know that he's one of those players that I'm about to tell you why I'm so high on him regardless of that. But I do get a little wary of those types of guys that even though he was really good at Toledo and didn't maybe get the attention he deserved, he just rose so astronomically far in the offseason that I say, well, I'm going to try to, I guess, push back against that a little bit and try to say, okay, where were we actually in the fall? What were we looking at there? So that's I'm trying not to say anything bad about him because I'm about to turn around and pick him at number 12. I mean, that's really what I'm trying to say. I'm getting him at 12 to Denver, so it's a weird spot for me here.
Okay, well, Luke does have the next pick. He jumped the gun real quick, but I want to I want to hear what Ray thinks about the pick.
I like Arnold. I like Mitchell a little bit more, but it's like slightly a little bit more. I like his length a little bit more than Arnold. I like he has 2.5, almost 3 seasons of really good game film, where Arnold has one standout year. Now it is a high level of competition, and I like Terrion Arnold. I think they're both number 1 picks. They're both going to be taken pretty early or fairly early in the first round. It just depends on who is your flavor. I mean, you take Arnold, you take Quinton Mitchell, you're going to get good football players. You're going to get guys who are going to start for you pretty quickly. So,
No, definitely. And yeah, I think it is who's your flavor, what you want to do, how who better fits what you're trying to do. I will ask this, Luke, because as if I was a Vikings fan, which I'm not, but if I was a Viking fan, and I would be like, again, because the Vikings are they're known for trying to get corners very early, and they haven't really been working out except for Xavier Howard. I mean, I'm sorry, Xavier not Howard, Xavier Xavier Rose. He's probably the only one that really panned out for them. And they've been trying year after year after year to get that next best cornerback. What would you say about like people that might be saying stuff like that?
Yeah, to me, I get it. And real quick, I guess the thing with Terrion Arnold that really separates him, to me, the ball skills were something that I have just really taken a liking to, the big plays and big games kind of stuff as well. But yeah, for Minnesota, you take a look at the history of it. Okay, I get it. But also, are you going to let that affect or that this might be the best player that you could take? You could. I mean, I get it. You could try to go offensive line here. But to me, if you go and you're looking at offensive line, you're looking at probably over drafting somebody. And that to me, I was like, well, why do that when you can get Terrion Arnold off the board? So I get the criticism, but also you're not a contender and you won't really be. So you might as well, to me, go best player, which I understand is contentious, but to me, Terrion Arnold was the guy here that really jumped out.
You agree with that, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I have a first round grade on him right here, right between 10 and 15. So I think it's a good pick.
I agree. All right, let's get to the next pick.
Broncos.
The Broncos at number 12, and that will be Mr. Luke.
Quinyon Mitchell. We're going to shake it up. We're going back-to-back defensive backs here. I figure we'll break up this rhythm a little bit. And now, instead of talking about why Terrion Arnold might be a little bit better, I tell you, Quinyon Mitchell is just an athletic freak. We saw him down there at the Senior Bowl. We saw him just skyrocket up the board. And I think that is, a bit of a correction due to the fact that playing at Toledo, not the biggest school, not the most attention, and people had to find out about him a little bit more nationally. So that helped skyrocket his stock toward first round status. And if you thought that was good, now we're talking close to top 10 on Quinyon Mitchell here. And that's the thing of, Ray mentioned a few of the things he likes really well, the length. And with Quinyon, seems like one of those types of guys that comes out to these draft events and needed the opportunity to go one-on-one against the bigger school guys. And then as soon as he got it, took full advantage of it. Credit to him. And here we are at 12.
Definitely. No, I like it. They definitely need somebody opposite of I'm back. I'm so sorry. It's when I go on the podcast. I don't know no names. That's literally what it is. Patrick Surtain. That'll be a great duo. I know there've been rumors about Patrick Surtain still getting traded and things like that. I don't think so. They just made him the face of their new marketing, so I don't think he's gonna get traded, especially when you do something like that, when you make a player the face of your marketing. So I don't think they're gonna trade him. To have two good corners, you could go JJ here. That's probably where I would go, to be honest. And this is what I think they're leaning toward. I heard they are really trying to get a quarterback of the future in this draft. So I think that if JJ's sitting there, I don't think they get a corner here. I think they'll get a quarterback. I don't hate the pick though, but what do you think, Ray?
I like the pick. I just wonder if they would take a quarterback there. That's all.
Correct.
I mean, I wouldn't. I agree 100% with you, Luke. My dilemma is I got the Raiders next. Another team should take a quarterback, but I don't want to take J.J. McCarthy in the top 15.
No, I can't do it.
I know that someone's probably going to. And it's going to be probably one of these next two, either Denver or the Raiders. But, I mean, I don't understand. Like, you talked earlier about, like, Quinyon Mitchell, you're a little scared because he moved so far up in the draft. Well, J.J. McCarthy went from, like, a third or fourth round pick to, like, the top 50. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Yep. I can't.
I try to just be wary of that when it's like, okay, the past 3 months is fueling the majority of your draft stock. I try to be a little skeptical. I think we kind of owe it to ourselves to at least think about that.
100%. And I'm not taking JJ in the top 15. Ray already knows how I feel about it. I also kind of know how and why coaches in NFL would want to get a JJ. I personally thought he was a first round if he would have stayed one more year in college to kind of prove that he can sustain passing the ball a little bit more. It's not enough tape out there for him. So I was a little disappointed, and it might have been a little biased because I am a Michigan guy. I want him to stay a little bit, but also I just thought that when he played in the national championship game, while he did throw a lot of great throws, to me it just didn't say, hey, I'm going to go into this draft as a first round pick guy. I just think it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough sample size. It wasn't, enough great plays. It was some good plays here and there, but it wasn't enough for me. And it doesn't help that he doesn't throw the ball as much either. So he has a lot of potential to go here in the first round, the first 15. I think he will still, just because the NFL coaches are really big headed and they could get a lot out of a player. He's a very likable player or person. He's a locker room guy. The locker room loves him. And I know Ray's about to say, that's not who you figured of. I get it. But because Ray, I know you. I get it.
McCarthy all you want. And I understand that you look at him and he carries himself the right way. He looks the part. Okay, man, like the difference is if I'm a coach and I fail with this kid, I'm going to go find a job pretty easily. If I'm a GM, I got a job for 5 to 10 years before I get another one. Okay?
Well, I will say this, Ray. Out of all the quarterbacks in his draft, though, I think he has the second highest ceiling, though. Not saying that I think that he got the second highest ceiling, not saying that his floor is not low. Because his floor is kind of low because it can be very low. It can be
like falling down an elevator shaft low. What are you talking about?
What you say, Ray?
Like falling down an elevator shaft low. Okay, like that's a huge step to put on for a guy who literally against Penn State did not throw a pass in the whole second half of the game.
I know, Ray. I know. I watched the game.
I mean, I like Sam, I really do. His whole analogy, though, I didn't say nothing before. Like, oh, he's so good in the middle of the field. That's because the linebackers never drop back in coverage because they're always playing the run against Michigan.
That's very true.
Oh.
It's very true. It's very true. It's very true.
Okay, all right. Again,
no, hey Ray, we came into this and both thinking that I said mid to late second. Ray, you kind of said third round. I'm more of a ceiling person with him, so that's why I had him a little bit higher. But I don't agree that he's a first round pick. I don't, but also like the buzz on him is too high. I just think that too many teams are going to try to get that ceiling, maybe thinking like I am, saying that ceiling's too high. I got to get a guy that's going to do all the things I want him to do. And maybe it could be a good situational kind of thing. It could be, hey, let's have put him on a team that does run the ball like Michigan did and have him do as little as possible and then be successful that way. That's a possibility as well.
No, I think honestly, perfect case scenario. Here's the thing. When you take a guy in the top 15, you're saying you want him to play pretty quickly. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, in order to succeed, are going to have to sit on the bench for a year.
I agree with that.
So,
look like you want to take on too.
Are you saying that J.J. McCarthy has a higher ceiling than Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's bold. I respect you for it. I can't agree though, but that's bold. Okay, just want to make sure we had that straight because
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
all the reasons that we just spoke about, I'm taking Latu from UCLA, the offensive tackle for the Raiders.
Jumping the gun, Ray. Okay. I guess you talked you out of that pick, and I'm guessing.
Yeah, I like J.J. McCarthy. Again, I think if you're a team like Tampa Bay or the Cardinals that want to stash a quarterback for a year, okay, that's fine. But if you're going to put him out there and let him play right away, you better have a good offensive line, man, because he's never been hit in college.
Mm-hmm. You're right. So, Luke, what do you think about the pick?
Yeah, this for Las Vegas. I almost wanted to say Oakland.
Yeah.
I just see that logo. For Las Vegas, to me, is one that I actually think could have gone higher. I think if I hadn't gotten DB happy there at 11 and 12, this could have been a best player available kind of conversation. And I think him at 13 kind of just makes sense. I think it's right about the perfect spot to draft a guy like Latu because he has, and we saw this at the Senior Bowl, and I was kind of surprised at how much he participated in the Senior Bowl. So thankfully we got to see a good sample size, but I thought the length, the quickness, and also his ability to beat some of the better tackles there on day one and day two, to me, with the one-on-one pass rush win ability, really sold me on him. I was like, okay, yep, easy top 15 pick. So to me, if you're looking for a guy on the edge that's going to win the one-on-one pass rushes, get you some sacks, I think we're looking at a guy that can be 10 to 12 sacks and have his name in a Pro Bowl conversation at minimum while he's on his rookie deal. I think that's the type of player you're getting here. And for the Raiders, a productive pickup in the first round. So, I've had some catastrophic first rounds lately, so this is a good step in the right direction.
I like it. Hey, Luke, did you get to interview him at the Senior Bowl?
No, did not. He was swarmed like crazy. I assume you got to him?
I didn't get to him either. I wanted to get him. Sam was like itching to get him, but it was almost impossible. It was almost impossible. But man, thinking about Latu with Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Woo! And you got a defensive head coach. Woo!
And they signed Christian Wilkins from Miami for defensive tackle.
Right.
That's going to be an animal of a defensive line, man. It's going to be crazy.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes, you might want to be careful out there.
I honestly think that Latu was the best edge in the draft. I think
I agree. Thank you.
Dallas Turner
Thank
is
you.
very flexible and has great
Right.
bend and can play in multiple type defenses. And I like Dallas Turner, but I like a lot too because I have a lot of tape with him with his hand in the dirt, and he's a good run player, and he gets to the quarterback. I think him with Crosby and Christian Wilkins, man, whew, and that's what you need if you have any chance of beating Kansas City. You have to get to the quarterback. You have to.
100%. 100%. I have a high grade on with Liatu than Dallas Turner as well, right? My biggest thing is he had a medical leave. He had a neck injury that he was actually told he can't play football anymore. He took a year off. So I know a lot of teams are kind of worried about that. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him. But I'm telling you, if you trust his medicals and you think that he's the best edge rusher in his class, in my opinion. I really do like him.
Jalen Phillips from Miami did the same thing. He was at UCLA. Mm-hmm. He had concussion problems. Retired from football for a year, and then transferred to the University of Miami.
Correct. You're right. You're right. So similar path. I have a TJ Watt comp for him. I that's one of my comp for him. Some like the same type of player for him. I think he can kind of not saying he's going to get to a TJ Watt. TJ Watt should have been a multiple defensive player of the year candidate, but I think that he can do a lot of the same things that TJ Watt can do. So I love the pick, right? I love the pick. All right, let's get to our next one. Luke, you are on the clock with the Saints. Who you taking there? This is an interesting one.
It is. And with the Saints, I think you're in a decent position with your roster, but you need a few more pieces. To me, you're looking at offensive tackle, receiver, corner, maybe you go DT, defensive tackle. To me, I'm thinking offensive tackle is the way to go here. Talisi Fuaga is the pick. Someone that we came out of the season looking at saying this is going to be a top 30 for sure, and I think he's helped out his stock here in the offseason. And to me, out of Oregon State, RIP to the Pac-12, but this is one of the best Pac-12 products that you will find in this draft. So to me, Fuaga is the guy, and this is one of those that don't complicate it too much. You need offensive line help. Fuaga is a pick and a guy that people have liked all throughout the year and somebody that we've been hearing about, and we heard about him at the Senior Bowl, and he was down there, and that to me just continued to show that, okay, this is the guy that we thought he was. There wasn't a whole lot of, is he legit or is he going to be for real? I think his offseason workouts have proved that there's not a whole lot to worry about. And for the Saints, you've got yourselves a plug-and-play type of guy here.
Definitely. What do you think, Ray?
Agreed with Luke completely. I like Fuaga. I think he's got everything. He's a massive guy, man. He's strong. He's fairly athletic. He's going to punish people at the line of scrimmage. It's a very good offensive tackle class, and this guy he's right there. He's very good. So,
and the run blocking too.
It's ridiculous. He doesn't. He engulfs people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you just watch him, he just like you. If you lose, if he's sitting in front of you, he will take like two offensive linemen, and you can't see half of them. It's just unbelievable how he just kind of he just overruns them. He just runs through them. It's impressive to watch. It really is.
Definitely. No, I agree with that. Obviously, they definitely need some offensive line help for sure. Ryan Ramczyk is coming off a knee injury, so I believe he's supposed to be coming back, but you still want to kind of shore up that offensive line on both sides. Ramczyk's probably their best offensive lineman. They got McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, but to kind of shore up that offensive line a little bit better, I think this is a perfect pick. a really good, strong offensive lineman that you can put in there and do some solid stuff. This is a deep offensive line class. These guys that are going in the first round are guys that you can really rely on for some years. So I like the pick, Luke. Perfect pick. I don't hate it at all. So this is great. Cool. All right, I got back-to-back picks with the Colts at 15. If it loads, there we go. I think here, kind of thinking long and hard while you guys were talking with this pick. I think most likely it will be either a edge rusher, a corner, or a wide receiver. And I'm gonna go with the pick that I picked for them in a couple of mock drafts ago, some time ago. I'm still really high on this player. I think the buzz on him kind of died down just a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Brian Thompson from LSU here. Pair him up with Michael Porter Jr. I think they need another guy in there. I like the kid from what's the team that he's from? Play with your boy Luke.
Hold on. I think you meant Michael Pittman Jr. on the receiver.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Porter.
Yeah.
You're thinking hoops Porter right now. Yeah.
I am. Michael Pittman Jr. Yes. Pair him up with Brian Thomas right here. Will be really good for them. I think they need another guy. They got a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, really talented guy. I think they want to see a lot from him. Get a guy in there to help him with some more weapons. So I think it's a good pick here. I think last time I gave them somebody different. This time I go back to my original pick with Brian Thomas. I think he's being slept on a little bit here. Luke, what do you think about the pick?
I think it's a little high for Thomas. I don't hate it though. To me, I was thinking about him more in the 20s, but when you're looking at receivers, again, a lot of the guys that we really liked went earlier. So unless you're a A.D. Mitchell guy, and there's no way that Ladd McConkey should be going this high, as fun as he can be to watch, So this is your this is your guy right here. If you're not an A.D. Mitchell guy. So I guess my question would be, Thomas Mitchell, I think they're about similar in terms of draft grades for a lot of people, but you're looking for a receiver. What was the thought here behind Thomas?
He gives you a little bit of both sides of it. He gives you some size, he gives you some speed. Route running is pretty good. He was a little bit of combination of both. I think Mitchell, I think the issue with him was medical as well. I'm starting to hear as well lately. Yeah. So I'm starting to hear some medical issues with him. So I just think Thomas is a little bit more better built as well for the Colts, just a little bit, and what they're trying to do. So what do you think, Ray?
I agree, Jerome. I think that with a young quarterback, you want to have guys that are easy to see downfield. Brian Thomas is tall. He's got long arms and everything. I wish I had a little bit more consistency from him. But you could say about anything about after the first three receivers. I mean, I like die from the other wide receiver, and he's the same way. There's not consistent game film on him in Texas, so you could say either one. I do think that Brian Thomas has the most upside of anybody else left. So
I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. I got the next pick coming up with the Seahawks, and I'm going to pick.
Let me guess, Jerome. J.J. McCarthy.
I was waiting for you to look up. I'm taking him. I'm gonna take him. I think he just falling too much right now. I really do think a team's gonna grab him, and I think this would be a perfect position for him. He can sit behind somebody, learn. Don't have to be the starter right away. That's what we all was talking about. We don't trust him as a starter right away. Go ahead. You can keep shaking your head, Luke. It's okay. He's going in the first round. He's going in the first round. This is actually fairly well because he's gonna go higher than this. Come on, Luke. He's going higher than this. Let's put him in the best position. Don't have to start. Can learn behind Gino. Got some good weapons around him. Come on, this is literally what we asked for, right? Run first team, right?
You know what's wrong? I agree with you that it's a perfect spot for him. I still wouldn't touch him in the first round. But I agree that it's a perfect spot for him.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that, though.
He can go there and play behind Geno Smith for a year or two, and hopefully he gets on the field. I agree with that part of it. I still wouldn't touch him in the first round, but I agree.
The guy deal with the cold weather,
He's a winner. Yeah.
I love that one. Oh, that's my favorite one.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do the winner thing. I don't do the winner thing.
How about that?
See, I didn't say that at all, right?
That when they're drafted, they were winners until they get to the NFL.
He knows how to win.
I have not said that word at all. That was not me.
I know you guys don't remember Todd Blackledge. Look at how old are you? Like 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know who Todd Blackledge is. Well, Todd Blackledge was a quarterback from Penn State who was drafted before Dan Marino. You know why? Because he was a winner.
I see. So me growing up, I know Todd Blackledge as a ESPN CFB.
Okay, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. No, he's good.
I know him more for that than I do for his play on the field. That's kind of the funny part.
He's way better at that than he was as a quarterback. But he was just because you know why? He went to Penn State and he was a winner.
Well,
very funny. Well, I think this would be a great spot for him.
No, it is. If out of all the teams that could have taken him, like in the top 15, this is probably the perfect scenario for him because everyone else, except for the Saints would have been a good spot for him too.
Yeah, I think so.
He's behind Derek Carr, build up the offensive line. That would be a nice fit for him too. My worry is he's going to go to the Giants or the Titans or someone like that, and he's going to get the snap at him before he even gets on the field.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's why I don't want him to go to those type of teams. But
all right. I want all of these guys to achieve what they want to achieve. Because the more good players, the better the league is.
100%. I agree. All right, Ray, you are up twice now. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait a little bit, but we got Ray up with the 17th pick in the draft. Who you taking there, sir, with the Jaguars?
This is a very difficult decision now, gentlemen, to be honest with you, because I don't see anybody here that I am that crazy about. So, wow.
Just pick the guy that I'm hoping you pick because I don't want Luke to get him at 22 because I feel like Luke's gonna do it.
I don't want this to happen because I want this guy to be available for Miami, but I'm going to take Troy Fatanu, offensive tackle from Washington.
Yeah,
if you don't, because I have corner, wide receiver, defensive tackle. It's all too rich for all of them guys. Next need is offensive line. I'll take the next best offensive tackle and make it work for me.
I was hoping you said Marius Mims because I hate that pick to the Eagles. I do not want him on the Eagles, and I feel like Luke's gonna do it. Don't tell me, right? I mean, Luke, don't tell me, but I feel like that's something that Luke would do. I don't want him on the Eagles. I really don't. But I like this pick, Ray.
Why do you want him? Why do you not want him on the Eagles? You don't think you need him?
Because there's other positions that I want right there.
Okay, all right.
And I'll explain.
Yeah, I think I know what one of those positions is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do.
But, wait till they take you out of
We're taking a punter.
Yes.
Taylor.
I hate you. But no, Luke, what do you think about the pick?
Yeah, I think for Jacksonville, you've got to find a way to get Trevor Lawrence a little more help because he's stuck in that average category right now. He's got moments, and we see games from him where we're like, Yeah, there's that number 1 overall pick. There's Trevor. And then there's other
he's
games
trying
where
to
it's like there's other games where you have him in fantasy football and you're sitting there wondering why you got 7 points in your quarterback slot at the end of the day. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
you're like, wait, didn't you have like 23 last week? I mean, this is just from a numbers perspective, a very frustrating, Trevor Lawrence fantasy player owner for the past couple of years. It's been a rough ride, but I've been dedicated to it. And you've got to get the offensive line going. And I think that a guy like Fatanu, it seems like with Jacksonville, they're maybe 1 or 2 guys away on the O-line. So I think this goes a long way towards solidifying that. There's some receivers with some upside in Jacksonville. So to me, this is a good pick. It's a good position. And I think the only other thought you have here is maybe going corner with either Kool-Aid or Nate Wiggins or whoever else you like more there. So outside of that, if you're going a position, you go O-line. Fautanu is a player that I don't have a ton of problems with, but I also have not been as high on him as other guys. It is a pretty deep O-line draft, and at 17, you're in a tougher spot, kind of stuck in the middle here. And I think that overall, solid, good but not great pick.
Agreed. All right. Ray, you are back on the board at 18 with the Bengals.
Yeah, there's another bad because I don't really I'm not crazy about the defensive tackles here.
Yeah. I was going to say, when do we start going D-line on some of these? Byron Murphy or Newton. I was like, when do we start? Because, we'll see. Maybe not here.
I mean, I'm either going to, I'm going to go offensive tackle. I'm going to Marius Mims here at Georgia. I know a little higher than some people may have him rated, but honestly, skill set wise, this kid has as much talent as any tackle in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
What he doesn't have, J.J. McCarthy, is a lot of snaps as a starting player. But again, I'm going to go with his upside.
His technique is too sloppy for me too. And if the Eagles did draft him, I would be like, I would hate it, but then I would be like, all right, if there is a team to get the most out of the offensive line, it will be the Eagles because our Jeff Stoutland is a really good coach.
He is
really good coach. So he can definitely he will make the most out of Mims. So it will make sense in that aspect. I would hate it because if he can't get that technique down, then it just it's just too sloppy for me. What's your
I don't think he'll make it past I don't think he'd make it past Miami though at 21. I don't. So
really,
yeah.
I think that's the area I have him. I don't think he go past like the Cowboys or something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But go ahead, Luke. What do you think about the pick?
Yeah, hey, Bleckley County, Georgia native here with Mims. So to me, the potential is unlimited. I understand the concern. I understand probably in the 20s type of guy. And to me, I'm looking at, I get it with the snaps. I think the length is something. The size, obviously, coming out of high school is why he was such a big recruit. And then comes in and needs a little more time, but also is the type of player that because of his ceiling, because of his size, he can just go ahead and declare for the draft. And he did. It's a good move for him. Yeah. So I just think it's the potential is unlimited. You just have to have him with the right coach, right system, those little things that just let a guy blossom in the NFL. I think he'll be a better NFL player than a college player, but a lot of that just depends on situation. So if he goes to the Bengals, then, you've got to maximize that potential. And then you've got, I think, a super high level player. So this is a good pick for Cincinnati. And obviously they've needed O-line help for the past few years. They've addressed it with a good bit of money, but you can never, when you still need O-line help, you don't pass up a guy like Mims here.
If he was there for the Eagles, was he going to pick him?
No.
Okay.
Wasn't even on my board, actually. I had 3 guys I was going to pick on my board there.
Good.
Not Mims.
Good. Okay. I felt like that was somebody you would have picked for the Eagles, and I would be like, oh God. But and again, it's not like I think that if he did go to Eagles, it would be a really good situation for him because again, his technique is the worst part about him. Which again, Jeff Stoutland is really good at that, but I just don't want to rely on that.
My concern is more like he gets banged up a little bit too much, and I think that's what
He does.
that's what cost him time, maybe not developing as well as he could have so far. So
100%,
Yeah.
100%. All right. So I am on the board with the Rams here at 19. This was going to be interesting. There's a couple of players I think I could have went with. I still can. Excuse me. I think it's funny that the defensive coordinator last year of the Rams said we have what's his name? Hall of Famer tackle. Blanking on his name. The Hall of Famer tackle for the Rams. Come on.
Are you talking Whitworth or which one?
No, the defensive tackle just retired.
Aaron Donald. Sorry,
Aaron Donald.
Tackle. Sorry, I heard
you
wrong.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
I think it's funny that the defensive corner said, we got Aaron Donald and a bunch of people on defense. It's not what you say as a defensive coordinator. So I think they're gonna have to stay on that side of the field. There's a guy that we kind of mentioned earlier that we didn't really think he was that high, but just bring him in. I think he'd be a pretty good fit for them. I think they need more defensive help than anything. So I'm gonna go Jared Verse here for the Rams.
Yeah, we let it slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is around the spot that I would like him anyway. Right outside of 20s, but I think he'll be in the 20 range right there, especially if the board goes the way it is or have been. I could see him sliding around this part. So Ray, what's your thoughts on Verse going here to Rams?
I agree with what Luke said earlier. He's only has one move right now. He needs to develop other pass rush moves.
Correct.
He needs to be heavier hands, but his first step is elite, man. And if you have that, you have something to go with. So I may have went interior defensive line there, maybe a Johnny Newton or a Byron Murphy to upgrade what you lost in Aaron Donald. But Verse is a talented player, and the Rams are a pretty well coached team. So I think they'll find a way to use him. So I think it's a good solid pick. I do.
Yeah, I think pairing him with the rookie last year who played really well was going to be a good pairing for them on the edges. I forgot the kid's name from last year, but played very well, got a lot of sacks last year, putting Jared Verse on the opposite side of him and having two very young edge rushers. So you can have some names on that defense instead of just not knowing who everybody is with Aaron Donald going. I think this will be a good replacement of sacks as well. It'll help them out. Again, like you said, Ray, and I agree with it. The pass rush moves need to be. You need to do a little bit more with it, but very fast guy off the ball. So, what's your thought on the pick?
I think this is about right for Jared Verse. Some people have him top 5, top 10. For us, I said, oh man, we let him slide down to 19. And to me, that's because I was covering the Clemson FSU game this past year, and I saw in person Florida State versus Duke, and I felt like I'd gotten to see him enough between that and past years, and just tape on what I've seen highlight-wise of, okay, he makes some big plays, but a lot of times there were some games I watched this season where you wouldn't have really known he was there. And to me, I understand people say, oh, yeah, but he commands extra attention because he's so good. And I say, but that's your job. If you're so good, you beat it anyways. That's how we get all pros, and that's how we get – I'm like, that's part of the game. So to me, I look at it, and there were times where, Clemson, I felt like really took him out of the game. And Clemson's offensive line was not very good. So that meant a lot to me to see that and say, oh, wait, this O-line that we say is not very good is kind of – keeping him from making a lot of trouble. And I was just looking at Verse throughout the year, watching some games on TV and just saying, okay, the plays when he makes a sack, a couple plays here and there, they're cool. I just don't see him making a broad impact on the game or the game plan. It's not the red highlighter circle that I want on a scouting report from a top 5, top 10 guy. Saying all of that, still Very talented. A first-round pick for sure because of those flashy plays that he does make. And he does things that are very rare, things other people can't do because of the first step, because of his ability to make offensive linemen look silly in pass rushing. I wish I'd seen it more. I wish we'd had better production numbers this past year from Jared Verse that really backed it all up.
I worry about him taking outside tracks in the NFL because what you saw from him at Florida State was you could run right at him. And if you could just like wheel him off to the other side and he would leave gaps in the defensive line to run through because he's not disciplined either. He wants to just beat everybody off the snap, and that's great at Florida State. It's not going to be great at the NFL. So right now he'll come in and be a third down pass rush specialist, I believe, until he learns how to play the whole game as opposed to just rushing from the edge to the quarterback.
I agree with that. All right. Luke, you're back from the dead. With the 20th pick right here with the Steelers. Who you got here, man?
Yeah, if I'm the Steelers right now, I'm looking at best offensive lineman available. Not even really discriminating by position. I'm just looking at, okay, tackles. A lot of my guys at tackle are gone. I actually had made a note on my prep sheet here. I was like, I think this is a Marius Mims territory. But Mims is not there. So Fuaga is not there. That's another guy that I liked. Then I'm looking and I'm saying this is kind of where I'm starting to see Jackson Powers Johnson territory start to begin. And I think, and this feels a little high, so I'm a little hesitant to do it, but we have a lot of good linemen in this draft, and I think this is one of those that because of what we saw, Senior Bowl and even before that this year, watching in the fall at Oregon and Dan Lanning and what they did, Jackson Powers Johnson has impressed me, and I'm willing to do it at 20 and say, okay, you're looking for offensive line help. This is an interior offensive lineman and a piece that I think would really help the Steelers.
I love this pick. If you want to take offensive line as a whole, he's my second favorite player, offensive lineman in this draft. I think that it's obviously because he's a center. He plays center. He can play some guard, but you're mostly probably going to have him at center. So obviously, when you have a center, you don't want to draft him too high. I think this is actually around a great spot to get the best center in the game. And I like I said, I think he's the second best offensive lineman in the game right now. I really love Jackson Powers Johnson, a guy that I was very high on before the Senior Bowl. A guy that I wish he didn't get injured during the Senior Bowl because I really wanted to interview him. But I think that he will be a perfect fit for the Steelers. They've been needing offensive line help for a while. You got two quarterbacks back there that's going to be competing for the job. You need to protect them as much as possible so you can evaluate them as much as possible. And I think this is a great pick. I'm about to call you every name in the book except Luke. I think this is a great pick, Luke. I love this pick. A+ for me. Ray, what do you think?
I like the pick too. I like Powers Johnson. I think he's a Steelers type of a player too, so I think it works all the way around.
Sweet and simple. All right. All right. So I think Ray, you're up next. Yes, Ray is up next with his favorite team, Dolphins. Who you taking here, sir?
I'm taking J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama.
Okay, so Ray, you've been wanting an offensive line drafted by the Lions from the Dolphins for a while now. Why JC? Why do you think that's a good fit for him right here?
If Luke wouldn't have taken Powers Johnson, I would have taken him because I need a guard preferably because my tackles are okay. But I think I could take Latham and put him at left guard right now, and then move him out to tackle when my left tackle retires after this season, I believe. So,
correct. Ray, are you concerned with his inconsistencies last year? He was very inconsistent last year. I think he had his worst year last year. But if you look prior to the last year, I think he was really good. He was one of those guys that you like, he's very talented. But last year he struggled a little bit. What's your take on that?
I think he struggled as the quarterback. he didn't know where the quarterback was going to be all the time. I think he's a more of a system technician type player. He's got the size. He's a good athlete. But I think that he not having a quarterback that he thought where he knew he was going to be in the pocket kind of messed him up a little bit. I think Latham has a talent. I think that, again, my thing is I could play him at guard this year and then move him out to tackle once I get some coaching into him.
Definitely.
And Alabama's offensive linemen have not been – they have been like –
not up to par, right?
No, not what they should be. So that part of it worries me a little bit.
That's very true. Very true. I mean, I'll be the first to say their offensive line play literally lost them that game against Michigan. I think that was the reason that Alabama lost that game, because the offensive line play was not great.
Part of why it took them so long to find their footing at the beginning of that game, too. It was like, what is going on with the Bama offense? And you look and you're like, Michigan just has them read like a book. And it was just Michigan was just better on the line of scrimmage.
They were. And really, that's the thing. Like Michigan, so people don't realize, man, everybody looks for the flowers and the pretty – dude, when you dominate in the offensive and defensive line, you are going to win the game. And that's what Michigan did last year against just about everybody. They pretty much, even games when they didn't score a lot of points, they still dominated the line of scrimmage. And when you left, there was no doubt that they beat you. You know, so.
What you think about the pick, Luke? I believe you're kind of high on JC. Is that correct?
I'm all right on him. I had thought about taking him with the Steelers pick before. I'm just a little hesitant. I think to be fair about him in the high 20s. I think low 20s you start to feel better about your investment when you pick him, but high 20s to me got to where I said this is one of the first players actually in my recruiting coverage that's now made it to the NFL. So that was one of the things I factored in of like, okay, where was he in high school and where was he in college and now where are we in the pros? And looking at the timeline, to me, like big-time recruit, always had the size, always had the measurables, always had that, 5-star type NFL draft pick kind of potential because of his frame. And I just feel like we haven't seen as much of the technical development as I would have liked to have him in the high 20s. To me, it's maybe low 20s or wrapping up the first round, heading into the second where I feel comfortable with him. But that's one that because of the athleticism, because of the frame, if you're going to gamble, this is a guy that you can gamble on. And especially if Powers Johnson is gone, where we are at this point, going best available offensive line is not a bad idea here.
I also think that if you can play, if Miami has their preference, they'll move back a little bit and then take the best offensive lineman available at the end of the first round. I think that's what they're going to try to do to pick up more third, because the Dolphins have no third and fourth round picks this year. Yeah. So preferably, I would love to move back into the first round and maybe pick up a fourth or a third round pick in the process. But for right now, I like Latham. I think he's going to be a good football player, and I need to add good offensive linemen to my team. So,
agreed. All right, Luke, you are on the board. Do me well. There's one pick I want you to pick here. Just do it. No, don't say one.
Of Clemson.
Yes, he's doing it.
Nate Wiggins. Yes. There it is. Lock it in. You got your corner. This is a fun story. I've enjoyed covering Nate, and I really thought about it because I was like, well, don't want to just pick guys that I've covered or been around here. But this is one where at 22, I just thought it made too much sense not to do the way that our board has gone here. Nate Wiggins, Westlake High School product. We know that's South Atlanta. Shout out. They've produced corners like crazy, the Terrell family and Nate Wiggins. And I remember my first year covering Westlake would have been 2021. And they were, people were telling me like, this might be the best secondary out there. And I was like, okay, everybody hypes everything up. But, in the early 2020s, you had Nate Wiggins, and you had Avion Terrell and Christian Peterson and a couple other guys, all Power 5. And now saying that to say, I know where Nate Wiggins comes from in terms of the environment when we talk about guys that have that chip on their shoulder, guys that play with that extra intensity. They're chirping. I was able to see like the Florida State game being on the field, Clemson FSU, of Nate Wiggins. You can hear him from the sideline chatting in between plays, and you've got seatbelt. So this is that type of corner that we talk about. Maybe Jalen Ramsey kind of talker, has the swagger. But the thing with Nate is throughout the season, he was able to become a household name. He went from preseason, okay, this guy might be pretty good, to, last year had a really rough game against Wake Forest, and the fan base was kind of like, I'm not sure how we feel. But comes out and does well against Keon Coleman, and then does well against Tez Walker. And there were several guys in terms of receivers that he was able to either lock up or limit. And especially after the Tez Walker UNC matchup, that was when everyone said, okay, first round pick. And then he runs the 40. And now we're saying, okay, this might be a in the teens kind of guy. Or to me, in the teens, a little riskier, low 20s, you've got to punch it in. This was an easy pick to make because of some of Nate's background and seeing the way that he was able to prove it. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the longest guy, but he is fast, and he's made a couple of really big effort plays, hustle plays, where he's backtracking after a team gives up a big play, and he's at the end of it sprinting down the field, and he's forced 2 fumbles on the goal line from long sprints. So seeing that he's not just a guy that has speed that we talk about, oh, yeah, he's fast. Like, he's putting it to good use, and he's got good instincts, and that's something with Nate Wiggins that really stands out, makes it a good pick, and I think for Philadelphia really solidifies your defensive back group to where now you're starting to have some decent depth involved with your corners as well.
I agree. I love the pick. Nate Wiggins will probably be one of the guys that I've wanted for the Eagles for a while now. I just think he fits Vic Fangio's scheme and the cover 3 scheme that he usually does. I think that he's a perfect fit for that. The issue I have with him, which again with the scheme that the Eagles have, will cover him on that, but he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most physical guy, so he can get overwhelmed sometimes with more physical receivers. But his speed, his vision, knowing where the defender is, and all that, I think is perfect for what we're trying to do. I love the fact that the part that I don't get to see is how he reacts on the field and stuff like that. And so I'm glad that you told me, you kind of filled me in on that part of it, Luke, because I think that he will fit in perfectly with a guy like Darius Slay, who's pretty much the same kind of guy, chirping and not a troublemaker, but just out there just kind of having fun, chirping with the receivers and that kind of deal. I think he's the same type of mold, and it might be a great fit for him to learn under a guy like that. So I like it. Ray, what's your thought?
I agree. I think Nate Wiggins is a perfect fit for your defensive scheme. He kind of I think he'll excel in zone coverage. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a very good pick. So,
yeah. Luke, what's your take on him? His tackling though, because I hear both sides of it. Some people think he's good at tackling. Some people think he's not good at tackling. What's your thoughts on his tackling?
I remember when CJ Henderson was coming out of Florida, they said, "Oh yeah, he's not a willing tackler." And to me, Nate Wiggins is a guy that he gets thrown in that not a good tackler category. And to me, he's the opposite of a CJ Henderson. He is a willing tackler. He's just not that good at it. He's trying. He's going to put his body in there, and he's generally bringing guys down. But a lot of times when he's tackling a guy, they fall forward. He's not somebody that will have a big hit. He won't light you up. He'll make a tackle. He can do it, and he tries to do it, but they're just not going to blow you away in terms of the way that he goes about it. So that's something that when you talk about like size, yes, that's a fair knock. That's why we're not talking top 10, top 15. Tackling, I think, factors into that. This is not a perfect cornerback prospect, but it is one that I think throughout the year on tape proved himself. And to me, in the 20s, I think anywhere in the 20s is a really good spot for Nate Wiggins.
Definitely. We think, Ray.
Agreed. I think it's a good spot for him. Schematically, it's perfect. The Eagles are going to love this kid. Yeah. When we did the comp, I comped him as a Darius Slay clone. He just kind of fits what they do. He's like Lou said, he's a willing tackler. He don't hit people. He does tackle them. He'll bring you to the ground, but he's not going to hit you doing it. So that's fine.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick, and that will be me with the Vikings.
Good spot for your boy JJ, man, right here. God.
Now, yeah, I agree. I like JJ here or with the Seattles. I like both spots. I'm actually hoping the Vikings is the one that trades up for JJ if there is going to be a team. I like the fit with JJ with the Vikings. That's my favorite match with him with the Vikings. With that being said, they do need a quarterback. Because obviously Jay Jetta's over there. You got Addison. They gotta have to have somebody passing to them. I don't even remember who their current quarterbacks are right now, and I don't think it's that exciting. I think it's
Sam Darnold.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that is a big one. So there's two guys in mind for me right here. A guy that Luke will not like me picking. And there's a guy that I like a little bit more. And the question is, am I going to draft the guy that I like, or I'm going to draft the guy that I think the Vikings is going to pick? So that's where I'm kind of stuck right now. I do think this can be the quarterback, unless you want to trade back a little bit and see if you can get a quarterback in the second round. I don't think that's smart to do that. And plus, you'll have that fifth-year option in this spot too. So if you do get a quarterback, you like him, you still get that fifth-year option. So that if you don't get the quarterback in the beginning of the draft or trade up to get him, you sit here, wait for a quarterback in the spot and see if you can get him on a low end, a little bit cheaper, get that fifth-year option. I think that'd be great. That's why I am going to take a quarterback here. I think I'm going to go with my pick. Mainly because some of the reasons I said about this player. I'm going to go, and I think Ray's going to hate this, and I think Luke's going to like this a little bit more, but I'm going to go with Bo Nix here. Ray hates that. I think I'm going to go Bo Nix over Penix. Mainly because, again, I guess you hate it too, Luke.
Yeah, but, I can't back this one.
I think I'm going to go him over Penix just because of the injury. I think that a lot of teams are scared about that. When he played in a national championship game, he was getting injured in that game. And that's that national championship game, while very entertaining as a fan, looking at it in a draft lens as far as the quarterback wise, I was very underwhelmed with it. Seeing Penix get injured and couldn't really – he finished the game, but you could tell the injury was just lingering on him. It was just not working out. So that told me a lot in that game. Obviously, the JJ part of that kind of underwhelmed me as well. So it could be either one, Penix or Bo Nix. I think Penix just because of the injury history. Bo Nix have a lot more upside, I think, right now as far as like not getting injured too. So I'm taking Bo Nix here. Luke, I'm gonna let you start because I know Ray's gonna yell at me, but I'm gonna let you start. Luke, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I'll take it a little easy on you and let Ray do the heavy lifting here. But Penix is not in my top 40, and neither is Bo Nix. I just don't see him as first-round guys. I understand there's quarterback value, and the fifth-year option is something that I think is a really good thing to think about at this point, last 10 picks of the draft here, of who would you like to get that on. But it's not Bo Nix for me, that's for sure. I understand you want a quarterback, but now is not the time. You've missed your shot to get a quarterback in this draft, and maybe you go second round and do kind of the Derek Carr kind of style of, okay, this guy's good, but we'll take him in the second and go from there. maybe you do that with a guy like Bo Nix, but just 23, I don't love it. But I'll let Ray do the serious work on this pick here.
Not a good pick, man. Just not good. I mean, the guy, I know the stats are great, the numbers are perfect. I mean, he's a fun offense to watch. He barely completes anything beyond 15 yards line of scrimmage, though, man. Like, that's perfect. Like, I wouldn't take any quarterback in the first round besides for the three that I would have taken.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end of the second round, I would take Michael Penix before I would take Bo Nix.
Okay.
I think that Michael Penix, am I afraid that he's a little fragile and I am, but I just think that means I need to build up my offensive line, run the ball a little bit more. But as far as making difficult throws, Michael Penix has it all over Bo Nix.
Yeah, but this is the thing in my mindset on getting Bo Nix here too is that you got three good receivers out there. Actually, you got a guy that you could throw anywhere near him in JJ.
He has enough talent on offense where he'll probably look half decent as long as they can protect him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree with the offensive line not that being that great, and that's another reason why it's like kind of like not wanting the Penix there because the offensive line is not that great.
I do. I just think down the road. I think down the road people are gonna be like, man, we were really wrong about Michael Penix. I really do.
Oh yeah, and I agree, and I hope that's true too. It's just that right now with the injury thing, it just bothers me. It just and he did address it today, and I love what he said, but at the same time, it's just like keep getting nicked up, man. Keep getting nicked up, and when you're doing that, it kind of.
I mean, here's the thing about Luke. I'm sure Luke remembers Bo Nix at South Carolina, so it's like, ugh.
Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn. Yeah.
Wow. Like.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. Auburn.
Oh man.
But dude, and there's the other thing about Bo Nix.
Better now.
Every year he got better, though. That's the thing. Every year he got better. He had that. You're right. He was horrible at Auburn, but every year since then he kept progressively getting better and better and better. In my eyes, I feel like you can do that. You got the Jay Jetta, you got Addison, and you got Hawkinson as well. Don't forget about him as a pass catcher. You got weapons. You got weapons that you can surround him like Oregon did.
You're really
and let him go out there and do.
Is there that big of a difference between what Bo Nix did and what Spencer Rattler did going to South Carolina? He played the same numbers, but he played way better.
Yeah. It's comparable. It's comparable. I don't know.
I think in the right offense, Bo Nix can be a player. I do. I think there's enough talent to get to put enough good offensive players around him. It's going to be like a strict West Coast 10 to 15 yards, dump the ball off, and then take a shot every once in a while when they come up. There's talent.
I think that works for both.
But I just think in the first round, like Lewis said, in the first round, man, that's very scary.
Okay. Yeah, I think y'all underestimating the quarterback class. And I mean, y'all could be right. But I really think like a lot of these teams are gonna really want some quarterbacks there. The fact that the Vikings got 2 picks, I think honestly, I think we're all wrong. They're gonna trade up and get a guy, to be honest. Obviously this draft will have.
I think you're right, Jerome. They'll probably wind up taking him at 11 and take J.J. McCarthy at 11. I think you may be right.
Or maybe you package your picks and try to move up to jump somebody at the very top of the draft.
See, but that's what I would do. If I were these top guys, I would go get that guy before I would take J.J. McCarthy because he won at Michigan.
Stop saying that.
I'm thinking maybe you package some of these picks you have and try to jump into the Patriot spot.
Yeah, I think that's
Drake May and call it a day.
I think that's the most likely scenario. But listen, these rumors about Justin Jefferson getting traded is ridiculous. I don't think that's gonna happen. But you also got to keep him happy too. And he already talked about wanting to be traded if Kirk Cousins is not there. If Kirk Cousins is not there no more, you're gonna have to make him happy in some kind of way. He's gonna want to be the highest paid wide receiver. He's gonna want a good quarterback. So you're gonna have
I agree with that. I think that's all the more reasons, and all the reasons that you do draft a quarterback somewhere. It's because you get the wide receiver that you're trying to smooth, a reason to be optimistic about the team. Because right now,
Knicks is not a reason to be optimistic.
I agree. I do, but I think that's what I mean. I think if I'm Justin Jefferson and I see the way Michael Penix throws the ball outside the numbers, I'd be excited about playing with him. I would.
I was thinking Penix there because of that. I think he might want to play with Penix a little bit more too.
I think Penix at 23, but I could see where you'd be excited about playing with him because you watch him play at a high level all season, throwing the ball down the field to wide receivers. Where Bo Nix, everything you see is like within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, that's not exciting.
Yeah.
And these guys are awesome second-round picks. Like, to me, I'm thinking you trade up in the second, get your guy. But, yeah, I mean, we're shredding it, Jerome. We're shredding your pick here. But, respect to you here, kind of going against the grain, making it a little more interesting. So,
Luke, me and Jerome say all the time, after you get the player that you drafted, all that matters is if they can play. No one cares where they were drafted once you get them on the field, as long as they can play.
100%.
Well, I have doubts about that too, but
whatever, Luke. Take your next pick, man. Take your next pick with this terrible team. Go.
All right. Well, that introduction here. Cowboys, number 24 overall. Tackle, running back, offensive line in general are some things I'm looking at. But I'm also looking at the draft board and looking at how things are shaking out so far. And I see defensive tackle is one of the needs. And there's one defensive tackle that just happens to really be making some noise right now. Byron Murphy is the pick out of Texas. Get the big man in here. That is an explosive person that can go in the interior of your line and do a few different things. But to me, if he slides this far, the value, I don't love taking in the top 15 or top 20 a defensive lineman. But now we're sitting here in the 20s. We're getting a guy that, you can go offensive line here, but we've taken so many good offensive linemen off the board. Unless you're going to go with a guy like Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, who I do like, but wasn't sure I liked enough to beat a best player available option here with Byron Murphy. That's a good piece in your front seven.
Yeah, I actually like this pick for them, to be honest. I think they need offensive line a lot. So I think they need that offensive line is so bad right now. They need to shore up, especially that left side right now. What was the name that you said?
Guyton from Oklahoma. That's probably who I would go with.
I think Guyton or Burton would be two picks that they can go there. Graham Burton. I hear Graham Burton's name being talked
from
about
Duke.
Yeah, his name's starting to get talked about a lot. I think either one of them are a better pick. I do like Murphy. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys did some wonky stuff too, because you know how they like their flash, and a couple of these receivers are kind of dropping right now. So I'm not saying that they should, but I wouldn't be surprised with how the Cowboys are. They got a wide receiver who's right now. I think they just did they didn't do the fifth-year option on him yet, but they got a wide receiver that they need to re-sign. I'm sure they're gonna want to get a younger guy in there. It's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be explosive. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys do like the Cowboys do and try to get flash here. Wouldn't be surprised. But
what would be a pick for you?
I would say like a Worthy, because super fast guy, that kind of guy, somebody like that. Keon Coleman seems like a guy that they would like in that spot. Something like that, I would hate for them to get Leggett, but I think Leggett's have first round possibility as well. That's another guy that don't have a lot on tape, but I think he has the ability to be a first rounder. But yeah, something like that, just a flashy cowboy kind of thing. Like I said, some of these receivers are kind of falling to them. So Mitchell still on the board as well. So just kind of putting that out there that it's kind of a cowboy kind of thing. I'm not saying that they will, but Ray, what do you think about the pick though?
No, I like Brian. Murphy is a good football player. I think that he'll add depth to their defensive line, that's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you're talking like a Chop Robinson, a Dijon Cooper, a Cooper Dijon, maybe someone like that they would bring in that would spice it up a little bit. But I like Brian Murphy. I think he's a good football player. He's the one guy as an interior pass rusher who I think can give you. He can wind up being a double digit sack guy down the road, and that's a hard position to get from an interior defensive lineman. So I like the pick. So
100%. Now, when you say Cooper Dijon, were you talking Cooper Dijon as a corner or Cooper Dijon as a safety?
As a defensive back, a safety, a playmaker who can help a defense that doesn't make plays on the ball in big games. And this guy is a big game player. I think you could use him anywhere in your defensive backfield. I just think it's a versatile chess piece is where you're going to get the best out of him. Let him play in the slot. Let him play corner when you need him to play corner. When they line up 3 wide receivers, you can do multiple things with him. That's why I like him as much as I do.
Yeah. My only rebuttal with that is that I would want him as a safety because they got a lot of corners there. They got
I would.
Plus, they got Bland, they got Winston coming back, and they can still get Gilmore back, who's a free agent right now. So
he can help you. He can help you with return game. He can do some things like that for you. I just think that him and Chop Robinson would have won if you like Dallas gets like guys that are flashy. They're the guys I would take. Where Byron Murphy is a guy who probably his first year is going to be a rotation guy, but down the road, I think he'd be a really good football player.
Definitely. No, I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick, and that will be me with the Green Bay. I'm gonna go real fast with this one. Ray, you just mentioned him. I was thinking about him as he was falling. I actually think this kid is not gonna fall this far. Somebody's gonna trade up for him or something like that. I'm taking Cooper right here. Cooper DeZean. A good pick for them. I think that they don't really like what's his name. Their current cornerback.
What, Eric Stokes or which one?
Not Stokes, the other one. Their number one guy.
Jair,
yeah. Some tell me they're not going to try to pay him, and he's probably going to be either a free agent next year or they're going to try to trade him in some kind of way. They've been kind of tittering with that anyway. I think he actually said he wanted to be traded at one point, and then kind of backtracked and everything. Cooper could possibly go in there, or he could go safety. A really good defensive back for them. Plays the pass really well. Like you said, Ray could be another returner. They got a really good returner, but if you need a backup returner or another guy just to be out there, he's one of them. Going on the back end, showing up that back end of the defense for them, especially how the offense kind of rolled last year. They need somebody on defense to kind of help them out. So Cooper is going to be the guy. Value pick right here. More of a best player available kind of pick as well. So what do you think, Ray?
No, I'm a fan. I think it's a good pick for you, and it should help Green Bay. Green Bay had problems again, not getting the ball back a lot last year. This kid he's just around football.
Ball instincts, yeah.
Yeah, so
ball
he's
instincts.
a good.
And he can tackle.
And he can tackle. Yes.
Yeah. I know, and I know you like that, Ray.
I do.
What's your thoughts, Luke?
Yeah, versatile, best player available. I've actually seen him mock to the Packers a good bit, so I know you're not alone here on this logical thought track that this is a good fit in the system. So to me, I think you're on point here.
Perfect. Hey, the less I got to talk about my bad picks, the better.
We're nice to you on this
All right.
one.
Thank you. All right, let's get to our next one. 26 is going to be Ray. Ray got back-to-back, actually. He's taking the Buccaneers at 26. Who you taking, Ray?
I'm going to take Chop Robinson right here.
Chop.
I think that he's another guy who I'm a fan, but I'm a fan of him in the beginning to be a third down pass rusher. I don't know if he's a good enough run player to be out there on all three downs in the beginning. But I think again, Tampa Bay is a team that they run the ball, they play good offense, and I think that their coach, who's very good at using his defenses the way he needs to use them. So I think he's a good player here.
Yeah, I like the pick as well, Ray. They need some pass rush help as well. I really like how they are kind of structured right now. They got some guys back. I thought they were going to lose a lot of guys on all season. They actually wound up keeping a lot of them. So, they lost one of their linebackers, but they wasn't really high on him last year. He didn't have a great year. Eagles wound up picking him up. So I think they can be a trade out scenario type of team as well. Get some picks in the second. Some extra picks in the second round. Some guys that might want to jump back into the first round. This is right around that area where we see a lot of that. I think they can be definitely one of those teams. Again, a team that can possibly stock up more draft picks to get to next year, just in case, quarterback name.
For who?
The Buccaneers.
Oh, oh I hate it when you do this to me.
Help me out, Luke.
Are you talking about Baker?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. I was like, wait, do you mean Baker? Or are we talking about someone else?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, a guy that he surprised everybody this year. They had him on a low deal. He's still kind of. I think they only gave him a 2-year deal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still kind of. Jury's kind of out kind of thing. They might want to stock up some picks for next year in case it doesn't really work out with him. Get a young guy in next year and do it that way. So, Luke, what's your thoughts on this pick, though?
Yeah, get a good pass rusher. You've got Yaya Diaby down there in Tampa Bay that's made a lot of noise on their D-line. I've really been impressed with what he's done. He's outperformed any expectation I think we could have had for him. Yeah. So to take another guy in the draft to help that defensive front, to give them a better pass rush when you've got Diaby coming off a double-digit sack season, it just adds the depth that you need. You get the pass rush rotation going on, and I think that's real healthy for that Tampa Bay defense.
100%. All right, Ray, back on the board. Your next pick is the Cardinals with their second pick.
I got Johnny Newton from Illinois, defensive tackle from Illinois.
Nice. I like it.
A fan, a good football player, a one gap type penetrator from the inside spot. He does need to be a more consistent tackler though against the run. But again, you need to add defense to the Cardinals. They were a horrible defensive team last year. And I think their coach is actually a good guy who's done a pretty good job with them last year with their defense for what he had on the field. So,
yeah, I apologize. I just realized it says offensive line right there. So, ignore that. But Luke, what's your thoughts on Newton going here?
He was one that I thought about with the Cowboys pick back at 24. I was like, is it him or is it Byron Murphy? And to me, Byron Murphy, I think in the end of the fall season, the way that he played down the stretch impressed me. So that was just off of what I'd seen. But Newton is one of those that I think he's really strong on the interior and a good pick here. I've heard some people talk about him being as high as top 15, depending on who you look at, what mocks you look at. So to me, 27, I say, okay, you've got the Cardinals again, a team that's trying to build. You've got multiple first-round picks. You went offense early when we had Marvin Harrison Jr., and now is your chance to address the defense, and you go best player available, and this is a guy that's fallen to you. You say, okay, say less. That's all you need.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, next pick, Luke, that's yours. You got the Buffalo Bills there at 28. Who's taking? It's gonna be an interesting pick, actually.
It will be interesting to see how it plays out because part of it in this draft is I thought your guy out of LSU, Brian Thomas, would have been a perfect fit here, but he's gone. So now I'm looking at, okay, I want to go receiver, and I'm going to go receiver. We're going to go A.D. Mitchell out of Texas.
AD.
Get some speed to take the top off the defense there to Buffalo. A.D. Mitchell and Josh Allen just seems like a Sports Center top 10 play waiting to happen. And that, to me, I know with Mitchell, the reason he's not going higher is he hasn't played a ton of college games. He's been hurt. I mean, transferred over to Texas to go home, and I think found a good rhythm quickly and showed that he could adapt to the Texas system and get in with Quinn Ewers. And I expect a similar transition in Buffalo if he's a player that, as long as he's healthy, will come in and make a few plays in the first couple of games of the year, and that will get you kind of make you perk up and say, oh, hey, they got another playmaker up there. Because while Stephon Diggs did elevate Josh Allen's play, I think a young receiver like A.D. Mitchell is someone that will be elevated because of Josh Allen, and it'll be something that helps each other. And to me, A.D. Mitchell gives you a cool dynamic. We could have thought about Ladd McConkey here, and I know you always have to think about him late first, early second, but A.D. Mitchell, his former Georgia teammate, to me is just the better option right now. Wanted to go best receiver available regardless of anything else, and to me, Adonai Mitchell is that guy here.
Adonai Mitchell literally gives me Stephon Diggs vibes. So it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. He gave me Stephon Diggs vibes. So he does a lot of the same things that Stephon Diggs does. Similar size too. I think he's a little bit taller though. But yeah, I think that's a great pick, Luke. I actually forgot he was kind of falling, to be honest. Ray, what's your thoughts on this?
I like the need. I like the pick. I like the player. I wish I got more consistent production from him, though.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like the J.J. McCaffrey thing, like McCarthy. Like the production's not always there but end of the first round, you do need a wide receiver in Buffalo really badly. I would not be surprised if Buffalo was a team that walks away getting a wide receiver through a trade early on before the draft happens, or during the draft.
Possible, very possible.
I don't know what point. I know their cap situation is not great in Buffalo, but T would be perfect on the Bills right now.
Yeah, you're right about the cap, though. Right, that was a good observation because they're in cap hell right now. So,
but I mean, they do need wide receivers, and A.D. Mitchell is a good football player. Again, can he be more consistent? Again, I think when playing with a guy like Josh Allen who can make plays off script, I think it'd be good for this kid. I think it'll be a good spot for him.
100%. All right, let's get to the next pick. Ray, you're up, and you have the Detroit Lions. The draft is actually going to be in Detroit, so I'm sure the fans out there are going to be super happy with your pick here.
I hope they are, because I'm taking Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback from Alabama.
Oh, man, that's such a good pick.
Yep.
I was wondering where he's going to go. That's such a good pick. Love it.
I'm sure
they will too.
It's a need spot. It's a player who's been productive. He plays at a big-time school. I think it would be something for the fans to get excited about. Plus, a team that needs defense more than anything else. So,
correct. You guys have been hitting the last couple of picks, man. I'm loving this. Luke, what you think?
Really, really good pick here. And that was one that if Buffalo didn't need a wide receiver, I might have just said, okay, best player available. But here for Detroit, it was like things are playing out the way you want them to. Nate Wiggins goes high, and you're still left with a really good corner here in the 20s. So Kool-Aid McKinstry, that type of guy that put him on an island, lock the field down. We'll see how it translates to the NFL, but everything that I know right now of what we've seen in college tells me that this is going to be a player that really can start for a long time in this league. You like getting a guy like this because it is an exciting player and an exciting pick to host a draft in your city and have a guy like this come in. So I think it's good momentum for the Detroit fans, and they finally, last year had something to cheer about, and I think moving forward it continues that momentum and that good vibe.
100%. I agree. I like it. Well, that was Ray's last pick of the night. Left us off with a banger. I love it, Ray. Appreciate that. Me and Luke is going to finish this up so you can kind of sit back and laugh at us. Well, maybe me. But Luke, you're up. Double picks. Ravens at 30. Who you got?
See, we've had some good picks lately. It might be time for a weird one here. I'm trying to think about it before I say it. Okay, I've thought about it. I'm still thinking the same thing. I'm going cornerback for the Ravens because I'm going best player available. I'm going Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri.
Wow. Okay. Now his name kind of died off a little bit. It went from second, third, and then it shot up to late first again, and then like now its name kind of like cooled off again. What is it about him that you like, Luke?
Yeah, Ennis Rakestraw, such a competitive corner. He's another one like Nate Wiggins that I don't really see as like a hard hitter, but
Correct.
I do like the coverage. I do like the way that downfield his body positioning on a lot of the plays I've seen has been really good, squaring receivers off, pushing guys to the boundary. And to me, he's the type of guy that can eventually develop into the type of player that guards your best receiver. I know for Baltimore, you've got some pricey defensive players. So this is one that probably comes in and brings a little bit to the table, but develops into a superstar as you move forward. So that to me was, okay, best player available. That's a pretty well-built team in Baltimore. I like what they've done right now. I guess you could have tried offensive line. Again, to me, I'm looking at in this spot, unless you want to go Zach Frazier out of like West Virginia and grab a center, I'm not really seeing a whole lot at offensive line that I would bite on. And unless you want to go Adisa Isaac, I'm not seeing a lot of edge to bite on because I know lines of scrimmage can be a little better in Baltimore, but to me right now the value wasn't quite there. So I just wanted to say best player available, pick up Rakestraw, let him lock down a receiver for a few years, and then eventually groom him to be that CB1 guy.
I agree. I like the pick. I might have went Graham Burton here, just stirring up that offensive line a
Good
little
tackle.
bit. Especially that you got King Henry out in there now. I know a lot of people's like they should get a wide receiver. I'm like, they're not passing the ball. They're not passing the ball. So, and hey, Zach Flowers, man, he came on very hot, very late. I don't think you need to reach out and get a wide receiver. Now, it's still possible. It's such a deep wide receiver draft. You get one later on. Hope that he could be a good or solid, number two with Flowers there. They're not going to be catching the ball a ton. They got two tight ends out there as well that played really well, and Mark Ingram and my guy Likely. So I like the pick here. It's not somebody I don't think most of the fans are gonna be like, oh my god, about, but really good guy. I love his arm length. You see his arms right here. It's like almost down to his knees already. So I think that with decent speed, actually good speed with him. A guy that a lot of people not really talk, like, again, name kind of cooled down a little bit. I really like him.
It's a weird pick. Like, this is not a normal pick, but we're spicing it up here.
There you go. What do you think, Ray?
I like the player. I think it's a good, solid pick. I would have went offensive line there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and that might be the right
Baltimore is a team that kind of draft linemen too, but the Ravens are a funny team because they draft very well, pretty much on a yearly basis. They really do.
And again, they don't always get the hottest names all the time too, and they always produce really well. So
yeah,
I can see this for sure.
And
All right.
as much as people
Right.
want to keep thinking they need more wide receivers, no, they don't, man. They need to run the ball more. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna run the ball more. Trust me. All right. Number 31. Luke, ending your night off with the 49ers. Some might say call them the 49ers, but that's not what I said. Well, maybe I did, but anyway. Okay, Luke. 31. Who you giving the 49ers?
Give me Lad McConkey out of Georgia at 31
Ain't no way.
overall. Jerome, here we
Ain't no way.
go.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Here
I see what your
go.
thought process is with this. I see it, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
Well, we're looking at the 49ers, and I know you're probably going to say should go offensive line here. And I hear you. But
Their offensive line guy torching that Super Bowl. I'm telling you.
Right. But Vlad McConkey offers you an immediate option at receiver, an extra threat for your quarterback that continues to overachieve, and give him another option so that it can stay that way and keep things loaded up, keep the cupboard stocked. You saw how good they were last year without an offensive line being that great, and I think they can continue that production, especially with a guy like Lad McConkey that gives you that dimension of somebody that you always have to know where he is. He can burn you for a touchdown. He's a little shiftier than people expect him to be, and someone that runs really crisp routes. It's tough to beat a guy like that, and he doesn't need to be your number one receiver, and that's not what you're drafting him to do. But imagine him on the flip side and the way that offense gets the extra dimension. To me, it's just too much to turn down here at 31.
I'm gonna let Ray go first because I'm a little mad right now.
Again, I probably would have went offensive or defensive line there, but again, McConkey does add an element to their team, and I do think Brandon Ayuk is going to be traded, or
Right. That's part of it too.
He's another guy who can come in and do some of the things that Ayuk does. He's a good route runner. He knows how to get open, which is really, you look at Brandon Ayuk, that's all he does. He just gets open. He's not exceptional at anything. He just runs good routes and gets open, and that's what Lad McConkey does. So I can see that.
There's a difference between Lad and Ayuk, though. Lad can't get off a press.
Ayuk can't either. San Francisco's like Miami. They run so many cheat motions where the guys are like coming to line of scrimmage almost at full speed.
Yeah.
It's hard
I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was the most there was a team with the most
Miami was the team with the most motions of any team in the league.
Okay, so I think
you had more motion. Imagine Tyreek Hill running at you with full speed and you're turning and trying to, I mean, just even him or Waddle. And coming at you with like 5 yards of speed before you even get to turn your hips on them. That's why they get open so easily.
And that's how it was at Georgia. Georgia motions a ton. It moves guys a ton. So McConkey going from that to San Francisco, that's part of it. When you talked about the Ayuk trade at the beginning of the show here, that to me was like, okay, so we'll assume that does happen. And then now you're opening up a receiver spot. You fill it immediately with a young guy on a rookie deal and a high ceiling. And the knock on this is going to be injury history. It's going to be a little bit of size. It's going to be some of those things that have always been the knock on him. And
you know what, though? The same reason why Ayuk was a later round pick, though, because he had injury concerns and they followed him in the NFL for 2 years. And then all of a sudden he didn't get hurt anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Man.
See if you get lucky.
These guys come from college, which is great football, to the NFL where they all have their own personal trainers and they just seem to be healthier for some reason. There are always guys like that have injury. Like I'm a Sixers fan, Joel Embiid. Every time he goes to the floor, you're afraid he's never going to get up again.
Yeah, 100%.
There are some football players that are a little bit like that, but not many.
Yeah.
And I just think Lad McConkey playing in the 49ers offense with that tight end, he could be a real nice chess piece. He could be.
100%. No, and I don't want anybody to get my hatred for this pick wrong. I think Lad McConkey is going to be a really good player in the NFL. I think he's overhyped, as me and Luke did say at the Senior Bowl. The guy was like eating every little thing he did up. Like, I'm telling you, it was insane when he was over there. So I think he's a little overhyped as far as, I don't think he's a first round pick. I just don't think he's a first round pick. He's really good, high second round pick.
If you want to add a wide receiver, which obviously Luke wanted to add a wide receiver, which is fine.
Yeah.
Who are you going to add? McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, or let me see who else do I have on my list?
I got Worthy.
You would have taken Worthy before him?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He brings a different dynamic to the 49ers that they really don't have those speed. Huh?
He can't catch the ball though.
But he's gonna open things up for Christian McCaffrey to, or vice versa.
Not if he can't catch the ball.
He don't need to catch the ball every single time though, Ray. He's not gonna be the guy that's gonna get 15 catches a game. He's gonna be a 2, 3, 4 guy.
You don't need a receiver to catch the ball. I mean, it's okay if they don't catch.
Throwing 5 balls, he's only going to catch 2.
But look, you don't even need him to even be on the field to catch the ball. You just need somebody to go open the field up.
I agree with you. Line the
going right up the field on a draw.
Line the concrete in the first round, but I definitely wouldn't take Xavier Worthy in the first round either. And the one thing I know McConkey will do is he'll catch the ball.
I hear what you're saying, Ray. I really do.
So who has the Chiefs spec?
Huh?
Do you have the Chiefs spec now?
I do. And this is why. This is another reason why I'm mad. This is another reason why I'm mad that he did this, because I remember a couple of drafts ago, I made a bold pick here. I had this pick also. And Ray, you remember who I picked here? Remember?
I have it written down, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
I had Lad here.
Yeah. I do remember now. Yeah, you're right.
I said this when I drafted it. I was like, this is the only way that he's the first round pick. So I'm kind of mad that Luke did that, because I was like, this is the only way I see Lad getting him, because he'll be one other way. He'd be perfect on the Chiefs. But I was gonna say, if Lad was still here, and I was gonna say, this is the reason why he's not gonna be a first round pick now, because the Chiefs just lost Rice. He's gonna be probably out for most of the next season, if not all of next season. He's probably gonna be gone for all the season. Pretty bad situation that he had. He might be out for the entire season or half the season, something like. We don't know what the parameters are. You gotta prepare for that, and I can't see them getting a Lad McConkey with all the other picks they have here. I would think they would want a little bit of a bigger receiver, like somebody to catch the ball, reliable hands. Not saying Lad don't, but you want a more physical kind of guy like Rice was, to get down the field a little bit more. Worthy's not gonna be a first round pick. I'm just saying now, because I don't see it now. So with what I just said, I think they need to get a wide receiver. They need a receiver before the whole Rice situation. Now they're in a very tough spot where they pretty much have to get a receiver. They could be one of the team. Huh?
Why?
Did you not see how
they have Hollywood Brown now? For one,
I kind of forgot about him.
For two,
you're right.
For two,
Hollywood Brown is Xavier Worthy. Come on.
Hollywood he can't Brown catch either. Ball usually.
He can't catch either.
No, he's not. No, he's not great at catching the ball. He's not either. But Xavier Worthy did not catch the ball during the combine. You know what that tells you, right, man?
Okay. I wasn't gonna get Worthy here anyway.
All right.
So, all right. I'm saying they're the same player. Anyway.
All right.
So for me, I think that I'm stuck between 2 or 3 players right here. I just feel like they have to. I think I'm gonna go Leggett. I think that You got to kind of bank on what he kind of has on you. Big body, very fast. Luke, you was the one that said he's gonna run a sub 440, and he did. I think he ran and you was like he's gonna. And I said it too. I was like, dude, if he runs that, he's probably gonna be first round pick. And I think this just makes sense for him right here. I don't think you get a Worthy here because you got Worthy already, basically. Keon Coleman, I was kind of stuck on him. He's another guy. The speed a little bit kind of probably worries a lot of people, and plus I feel like he takes some plays off, which a lot of players do, but he clearly takes some plays off. He's a very talented kid. I feel like he takes some plays off. Xavier Leggett, I think it's the next best thing. You could go Troy Franklin here as well. I think he's a little too slim for me to pick here. So I'll say Leggett kind of showing me that he can be one of those guys. Very productive at the Senior Bowl. He actually didn't like how he played the first day. I actually think he was solid the first day, but he was going off right after day one at the Senior Bowl, and that showed me a lot. So Luke, you got to see him at the Senior Bowl. What's your thoughts on him being here at 32?
I've liked him for a while, and it just seems like he's been stuck in that good, not great draft area of like second round pick, probably not overhyped, not super underhyped, just kind of right in the middle. So to me, anywhere between this spot around 32 to 42 is where I really feel comfortable picking him. This is on kind of the higher end, but I do think he is the type of prospect that can warrant that late first round. And again, we're talking about what players would you want the 5th-year option on, and looking at, would you go trade up for him in the second round, or where do you stand in the second round for a player like this? And this is one of those where I think it's the right spot to take him. It's the right position for the Chiefs to continue to get better pass catchers in there. And this is one too where I don't think he's reached his peak yet. And that is something exciting here with that number 32 overall spot.
The other thing you got to think about too is that the Chiefs are going to be picking late in the second round as well. Yeah. And he's definitely not going to be anywhere near there. And I hear a lot of rumblings that the Panthers are loving this kid. Obviously, they're right in his backyard, so they get to watch him a lot as well. I heard they really want him. They're probably going to want him in the second round to kind of jump that. You're going to have to do that if you're going to do something right here. So what do you think, Ray?
I like legit. I think he's a good football player. I would be surprised if they don't go Tyler Guyton right here, to be honest with you, dude. Andy Reid loves offensive linemen. But I like him. I like Keon Coleman here. You know who I like a lot that I don't know if anybody – Jalen Polk from Washington, the receiver from Washington. I like him a lot, man. I think he's going to be a really nice football player for somebody. But I don't hate them going with a wide receiver because it's definitely a need position for them. Mm-hmm. I think if you get a bigger body like that with Hollywood Brown, I think that's perfect case scenario. I don't really want to give Kansas City any more weapons, to be honest with you.
They're gonna have to, though. I feel like they're gonna have to. I mean, they don't want a repeat of last year. They don't want to rely. I just don't feel like they're gonna want to rely on just Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey. Because Patrick Mahomes, this year was the most I've seen Patrick Mahomes that upset. He was upset, and a lot of it was because the wide receivers was not playing well. He was pissed. So I know he's like.
Well, the first thing they did was get rid of Valdez Scanlon. That guy, what a waste, man. The shame of this dude, he has ability. He's a tall guy with good long arms and good speed. Again, can't catch the ball, dude. It doesn't matter how fast you are if you can't catch the ball, man.
Here, let me catch this ball real quick.
Literally, he single-handedly cost them the Eagles game. Single-handedly.
100%. That was a woo moment for me.
That one.
The game was
I remember watching that.
The game was over.
It was like literally you couldn't have taken it to him and handed it to him like that any easier than that catch was. And the guy, it's just like he's literally walking into the end zone if he just catches the ball.
That was such a good play by Mahomes.
The corner's like 5 yards behind him. I'm like, wow.
I'm pretty sure I know who that was too, by the way. But no
So,
reason
Luke,
why Eagles playing
do
cornerback
you,
is
do
huge.
you have a favorite pro team or no, Luke?
I mean, Falcons are who I cheer for. I'm from Atlanta, so
Yeah, no, I get you. That's fine.
it's what it
Nothing.
is.
You are excited about this year or not sure what to feel?
Yeah, I try not to feel as much as I can, especially with this Falcons team, because it's just not healthy.
No, no, Georgia Falcon fans are the most fun fans ever. I swear, you guys are hilarious. I love you
well,
guys.
well,
You
I
guys.
mean, think about it, right? You gave Kirk Cousins a boatload of money, and like, gosh, you hope it works out, but in the end, you just know like there's some issues. Now, the funny thing though is a year ago we did have some hope. There was a lot of real optimism that Desmond Ritter could be average, and
That
you
was
saw how
wrong.
that worked out. Very wrong, and it was just average
Me,
because we're like,
me
if
and
he's
Ray
average,
had
this could be a playoff team. But right now with Kirk Cousins, I think there's a lot of optimism. For me personally, I'm just like, we'll see. I think it should be a playoff team. I'm really not sold on it. Like the I just don't really see it. To me, I think the defense needs a little bit of work. It was pretty good last year, needs a little work. Offensively, I'm just not sure that Cousins is going to be the revelation that people think he will be, but obviously hopeful that he will, but just not buying into it until I really see that, Kirk Cousins return to form.
No, I agree. I mean, you always got to say it for yourself, but I mean, Cousins does put up numbers, and he usually does win games.
Yep.
So
But
that's
now
the
he's
right direction.
older and coming off an Achilles injury, and
The thing
we'll
is, can
see
you
what happens.
kind of find a way to get somebody to put behind him down the road where he can be the starting quarterback?
Maybe you get Spencer Rattler in the 4th round and
Yeah,
have
you know
that
what,
issue.
man? Hey, man. Hey, again, I'm a fan of Spencer
Good pick.
Rattler. I'm scared to death of him, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, just to sit back there. I really thought Ritter would be a good backup, but it just sounded like that Bond got to
It just
be
kind of
irreparably
it probably
bad.
wasn't a good thing with him keep rotating last year, and then he was already
Yeah,
kind of showing that he was annoyed by that. You know what I
they
mean?
messed
And
him up for sure.
they kind of automatically, Raheem Morris kind of already was before even the draft process was going on. He kind of said, "Yeah, we need a quarterback." He just
Yep.
straight up said, "Hey, yeah, we need a quarterback." So I can see why that kind of didn't work out, and I wasn't surprised when they actually traded him. I was like, "Yeah, I
It
can
was
see
like,
that."
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
Once you're the starting quarterback, man, and it doesn't really work out, you're probably just better off going somewhere else anyway, man. I
right.
mean, no matter who it is, how often does a starting quarterback, turn out and be a good backup for that same team? Almost never. They
Yeah,
go
I don't
they
see
go
it.
from team to team after that, and man, there's nothing wrong with being a backup quarterback. I
Mhm.
take
no,
It's a good
anywhere
job.
$2 million, $5 million on the bench and hold a
I'll take
clipboard,
it. I'll
chart
take it.
plays.
I'd be good with it.
Yeah, and don't ever get hurt, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
help me.
you usually the most loved person in that team.
Right.
Like
And
like
the crazy thing is, you can have the team could be rolling along, and then all of a sudden, okay, the quarterbacks, we're gonna set the, and then you have a couple good games, and all of a sudden you get a big paycheck from somebody, and
yep.
you're still the same guy, but
Yeah,
they call something they like, so they have to throw money at you. Like, so
There you
hey,
go.
again, nothing wrong with being a good backup quarterback, man. You can make a
100%.
lot of money doing it.
100%. 100%.
yep.
All right. So real quick, I want to know tomorrow's the draft. Obviously, we're super excited about it. We're all going to be watching it. Hot take for tomorrow. Something that might happen that you think is going to happen. Kind of a hot take, maybe something not really being thrown out there. I'm gonna start with you, Luke. What's your hot take for tomorrow?
No defensive players in the top 7.
I agree.
Okay, is that
Actually,
not?
it
Maybe
might
that's
not.
not enough.
It might not. Me and Red, I told Red before. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think defensive players might not even make it out of the like 10. It might not even be 10 in the first round. Just so much offense. There's a possibility that it might not be 10 defensive players in the first round.
Unless Atlanta takes a jump at it as an edge rusher, you're probably right about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let's see. Anything hotter?
Let me see how many we got. We got 1, 2, 3. We got a lot of corners though.
Top 10 Atlanta.
Yeah, that Atlanta at number 8 kind of thing.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, perfectly 10. We drafted perfectly 10 in this one. So Luke, you messed it up with the Armstrong. But yeah, exactly 10. So I think that might not even happen. Or literally. I think you might get a lot of offensive players. And again, deep quarterback, deep linebacker, offensive line, deep wide receiver class. I just think that with that kind of deepness, you're going to have a lot of those guys going in the first round. So
Okay, this is the hottest take that I can engineer here, and I'm not even sure how much I believe it. But I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it. JJ McCarthy falls out of the first round.
okay.
Wow.
That's as hot as I can go. Because everyone's saying even as high as top 5 or whatever. That'll be my hot take of McCarthy out of the first round. I'm not sure it'll happen, but that's my take.
It's not. And I'm not saying as a Michigan fan. They love this kid way too much.
That's the hottest thing I could come up with.
Another way that I would be more likely to see 6 quarterbacks go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be my hot take. That was going to literally be my hot take.
Because was saying that, dude, that T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, and Brandon Ayuk all get traded before the weekend's out.
That's your hot take?
Yep.
That's a lot of receivers. And a receiver
How did you get Brandon?
And a receiver heavy draft.
How did you get A.J. Brown?
No, and you're right. But
wasn't Hollywood Brown traded the same day?
The draft that we got A.J. Brown, it still wasn't this kind of a deep kind of wide receiver class. So
no, but the wide receiver classes have been really good the last 3 or 4 years, really. Now they've been pretty good.
Oh, you're
this year's better. You know what it is with this year is you don't have you have the one blue chip guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like Neighbors too. I do. I don't think he's going to be as good as Marvin Harrison. That is my own opinion. Yeah. I'm fine with that. And then, but after that, you have Neighbors and you have Dunes. And then after that, there's a little bit of a drop off.
It is.
Then after that, there's even a bigger drop off where 4 or 5 guys. But you have way, way more overall depth this year than you've had in the last couple of years. Where you had some really good top heavy guys the last couple of years, but you didn't have overall depth that you have right now.
I agree.
There's guys that are going to be taken in the 5th and 6th round that are probably going to be starting wide receiver somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. Like
the 96 draft, man. You guys should check it out sometimes. I think there was 20 starting wide receivers in that draft.
Damn.
Guys that were and a half a dozen of them a Hall of Famers, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
96, you said, right?
96.
I'm gonna look that up later on. But yeah, I like what you're saying, Ray. It's just that
Marvin Harrison and Terrell Owens were in that draft. Amadi Toomer.
Okay.
Mushim Muhammad.
Mushim Muhammad is so good. I love him.
Really good.
So underrated.
Joe Horn was a 7th round pick.
Joe Horn, yeah.
Pick.
That was a good Falcon.
Was that?
Former Atlanta Falcon for a minute.
Great. Yeah. Well, to me, I think him and Andre Rison maybe him and Andre Rison are 2 of the most underrated wide receivers that they were both so good, and they both played for Atlanta.
Yeah.
Andre Rison was phenomenal when he first played for the Falcons, man. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. To get back on your point real quick, and we're gonna close it out right after that. But the only other reason why I'm saying is I'm not sure about your take, right? Is you see these dollars that these wide receivers are starting to get right now is getting
that's why if you're New England and you find a way to get a good starting quarterback and you get one of these receivers, your team your fans have something to be excited about for a change.
That's cool. That's true. That's true. I like that. I like that.
Offensive line, you get yourself a quarterback. Maybe you know what would be crazy if they moved down and got a JJ McCarthy, because out there they would be excited about a Michigan quarterback. That would matter to them. Yeah, it really would, man. Like, because you know how
Michigan parallels there.
You're not from around here, Luke. Believe me. The people from the northwest part of this, the northeast part of this country, think they're the best ever of everything. They just do. There's a reason why they call New York the greatest city in the world.
Did you say Boston? Did you say Boston?
Boston?
That sounds just like Boston.
Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Chicago, even Detroit. They all think that there's no place like home.
Sure. There is no place like home.
There's nothing wrong with that. But around here, I mean, you get the farther north you get, the more attitude you get.
Did you say Boston? It sounds like you said Boston right there.
Funny, I've only been to Boston once in my whole life. I've only been to New York once in my whole life. I'll never go back either.
How you never been to New York? You're like an hour and a half away.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I'm also an hour. I'm 25 minutes away from Camden and 20 minutes from Kensington. I don't want to go there either, man. Okay.
Touche.
Okay.
Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank y'all so much for getting on with us, man. We want to thank our special guest, Mr. Luke Winstel, down there. Always great to have you on, man. Love to have your analysis, man. You got some great points. Hopefully some of your draft picks get picked in here, and hopefully we do see a fifth, sixth or quarterback in the first round, so I can laugh at you a little bit. But
you know what? I'm going to be honest, Luke. I just want to be greedy. I want 6 quarterbacks to go in the first 20, so Miami gets better player. That's all.
Yeah.
There you go. Selfish ambitions. I get it.
I want all 7 in front of the Falcons.
You go, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And just get the best non-quarterback at 8.
Yeah.
Exactly. 6 quarterbacks, 4 wide receivers, couple offensive linemen. I'm good to go, man.
That'll do it.
There you go. So thank y'all so much. I'm your humble host, Jerome. That's the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Roberts. Before we get off, make sure you follow us on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, however you want to call it. Right now, currently, we are at 9971. We need 29 more followers to hit that 10K. 29. That went so fast, guys. So thank y'all so much. You know, my boy Luke had a part in that, so I want to thank you for helping us out with that as well. But we're about to hit that 10K, a big milestone. I can't wait to get it because I'm tired of looking at it every second. It's literally, you can ask Luke, I hate looking at the numbers. I haven't for a while. Ever since we got close to that 10K, I've been literally watching it every second. Like, did we get it yet? Did we get it yet? Did we get it? It's annoying. So thank you guys. I appreciate all y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. You see that? Oh, I don't have it on here, but it's right back of me right here. The QR code. So if you want to scan that, you can find all our social media on there as well. It's always Inside the Hashes or Inside Hashes on X, all across the board. So thank you guys once more. Again, we will be on tomorrow live for the draft. So if you want to kick back, listen to us. You don't really like listen to the TV guys. You want to hear some personal information or some analysis from some other people. Come check us out. We got 98 people in here right now, so appreciate all y'all right now. Come check us out tomorrow. We do live chats as well, so if you want to come in here and put your comment in here on some picks or anything like that, definitely do that. We're gonna have a good time. So it'll be me and Avery, probably get some food. Might see me snacking and stuff like that on the side while we're watching. So it's gonna be a good time. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're not watching live on a replay, please pick a comment in. Let us know how we did. We will comment back. So we do appreciate that. Let me know how terrible my draft picks are. It's okay. I can take it. I'm a big guy. So once again, Jerome Jones, Luke Winstel, Ray Roberts right over there. Thank you guys so much. And we see you on the next one. Peace.